I now call the March 5th regular school board meeting for Forest Lake Area Schools to order. Please join us while we recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Member Clerk, will you please take the roll call of attendance?
Okay, Member Castle,
Here.
Member Tyson,
Here.
Member Antonsen is here, Member Rebeline,
Here.
Member Christensen,
Here.
Member Corcoran,
Here.
everybody's here.
All right, thank you, Member Antonsen. I would entertain a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
So moved.
Second,
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Member Corcoran.
I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda. I would like to add additional legal representation as something to discuss at our board table tonight.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Just for clarification, did you have an idea of where on the agenda you'd like to add that item?
That's a good question. Probably under action items?
How about 9.10?
Sure.
Okay, if it pleases the board, we'll amend the amendment to make that item 9.10.
do,
All right, seeing no objection, is there any discussion on the amendment?
well, I have a
Member
question.
Atkinson.
Do you have names?
Yeah, I do. Should I
Can you
address that
tell us
now?
what that
or-
is? That'll help, I mean, I don't know.
I was
We-
just going
we
to add it as a
could-
talking item.
Oh.
Oh, just as a discussion.
Well, a
But not
discussion item,
action?
but also an action if we choose to move forward with it, yes.
Oh,
Do you
Okay.
want me to do that now?
oh, I get it. If that's not proper,
Oh, whatever your preference is, Member Corcoran, if you'd like to include that in the amendment?
It just, then Joy has to write it all in, right? No?
It's gonna have to go in there.
Yeah, it's going
Oh,
to go
okay.
anyway.
All
so
right.
Go ahead.
Okay, so what I'm asking for is that I really feel like we do not have enough legal representation for our district. And the ones that I would like to add, so I could just hand these to Joy? Would that be helpful? Okay, I'll hand these, but I'll read them quick. Margaret Skelton at Ratwick, Rosick, and Maloney, Peter Martin and Greg Matson at Kennedy and Graven, and Pemberton Law. Those are the 4 legal firms I'd like to add.
Okay, just for clarification, Member Corcoran, are those the same law firms that were on the agenda approximately a month ago?
They were, but I don't feel like we had proper voting on that. It was bundled with a grouping. We did not call them out directly and vote in on each of them independently. So I feel like we haven't discussed them separately. And I feel like we need to make sure that we have done that to make sure that our district is not in any way vulnerable to future lawsuits. So I just feel like we are not adequate with their law representation right now. And I think as a district, we need to be more, we're stewards of our district, and I feel like we're kind of at fault right now not having proper legal representation. So, yeah, so I'd like to add it for discussion point later on that, and in our action items.
Does anybody else have any discussion on that amendment item?
I would just like to say I agree with Member Corcoran. These lawyers from our February 12th meeting were not discussed at all because of the way things were brought up, and when we voted down the policies, what was it, 425 and 1211, I think. We, as you said before, they were bundled together, and so when those policies went down, then we didn't discuss the lawyers, and these lawyers have been recommended by administration that we need them for our legal representation. So I do not believe that they were properly discussed at the February 12th meeting.
can I,
Member Anderson?
did this just come up today? Because I do remember an email from you about a week and a half ago asking if there was any interest in wanting to talk about this or anything to bring up, put on the board. I think, the accusations about adding things on last minute and having surprises is now happening when there's been a week and a half with the question out there. Do you have any questions?
But I did try, and he said that Member Chair said it was settled. In my mind, it is not settled. I did tell him I think we needed to add it and talk about this at this meeting. He said he thought it was settled, but I don't believe that in my heart and my mind it's settled.
Because it wasn't on the agenda the way you guys wanted it on the
No,
agenda
but we
the
didn't-
last time, because we've had them on the agenda before and everybody voted no.
Well,
Three
like
of
you
you
say,
voted no.
it was bundled in a bundle, so we didn't really have it broken out for us to just vote on the pieces. It was all together in one.
Because all
way.
of the law representation matters, I think, is probably why it was bundled.
Yep.
It all matters.
I don't think, excuse me, sorry.
So-
I don't know that we have to
Member
revisit.
Tyson, I think it's Member Tyson's floor, and then I'll come back to you, Member
Okay.
Christensen.
Thank you. So to address what Member Antonsen is bringing up, I had an email with Member Chair asking some of these same questions and kind of feeling the same way, that we hadn't properly vetted them, that it was bundled kind of at the last minute, which we have to agree that it was. And so, Member Chair, if you could explain, you brought back one lawyer that you wanted on the agenda last time,
Yes.
correct? So I think it's only fair that we've continued to vet the ones that have been recommended by administration by putting them on there tonight.
Yeah, I'd like to address that inquiry. I did bring back one lawyer in our last meeting 2 weeks ago, and I did that because if you recall, the approval of the entire, the bundle failed because members indicated that they wanted a legal opinion on the policies. So I brought back the lawyer that would have been relevant to review those policies, so we could provide that information to the board. That was how that evolution occurred. And as Member Antonsen mentioned, I did email the board and ask if there were any concerns, that it was settled business. We've voted on this multiple times now. It's been voted against. And that if anybody had any other law firms to bring forward that would satisfy the comprehensive list that we were looking for. There were no suggestions. Member Tyson did suggest Pemberton. Pemberton had been voted against. Member Corcoran did suggest the law firm she brought forward this evening. Again, they were voted on. And I would like to point out that when an item is brought to the agenda in a bundled fashion, it is in order to make a motion to divide the question. There was no motion to divide the question. Therefore, that is what settled my opinion as it's settled business.
So I just want to follow up on
Yes.
that, Member Chair, that I think that I did research Pemberton, and I brought information forward to the full board that I had learned when I talked with them at the MSBA's leadership conference. So when you bundled and you had Beck Law Firm, someone that you worked with personally, I had to go searching for information. There wasn't any attachments, there wasn't any info on him. I had never heard of that, of him. So I feel like, to be transparent, we need to give the rest of the law firms more vetting and more discussion, because administration is recommending them, and we want that comprehensive coverage for our district, as stated in the minutes, that a community member pointed out to me, that it is on record and in the minutes that I stated, for the record, I want it to be a law firm that has comprehensive coverage, because a lot of those at our organizational meeting were stripped and were gone. So now that's what we're looking for.
And the list we're looking at tonight, just for clarity, is not comprehensive because it does not include that elected official representation that the board was interested in.
I'm interested in Pemberton Law Firm. They're comprehensive. They're one of the oldest firms in the state of Minnesota. They work
Okay.
with a lot of municipalities.
I understand that. That's not
public school
germane to whether or
districts.
not we add it to the agenda. I think we're drifting a little off of
Okay.
topic here, but, so let's get back to that. Member Christensen, did you still have something to add?
I did, yeah. I mean, I think that this issue of making sure that we have the right law firms, you're asking us to individually say a law firm that we might choose. I mean, that's not my area of expertise. The administration is recommending these law firms. I'm not gonna, comb whatever to try to find a lawyer. I'm gonna take the administration's recommendation of who they want for the lawyer, and this is who they want for the lawyer. And I think it was a procedural motion to bundle these things together, and they were bundled in a way that would not be acceptable to the majority of the board. And so therefore now it's being said that that was settled business, that was voted down. And I don't agree with that. I think that this isn't, so what I was gonna say is this isn't about revisiting the vote. We don't need to sort of relitigate what happened at the prior meeting. This is about fulfilling the board's responsibility to ensure the district has the appropriate legal representation. That is our job as a board to do that. And I think if we can take administration's recommendation, I don't know why we wouldn't take administration recommendation on who our legal counsel should be. That would be a recommendation. That's what we hired the administration for, to offer up their, interpretation for us or their best suggestions. I mean, I'm not gonna suggest someone, that's not my expertise. So I think that we need to revisit the list that we had before for various reasons that we can get into, but I think it's at least worth a discussion. I think it's at least worth adding it on the agenda, not voting it down right away that we can't even add it to the agenda. We can't even have the discussion. We need to have further discussion to fulfill our obligations.
Okay, any other discussion on this?
Okay.
Member Anderson?
I just don't understand why the discussion hasn't been happening in the last week and a half since the email went out, and why it's happening right now.
It has between
It
me
has
and the
been.
chair. I haven't been
Yeah.
emailing you.
Okay.
Sorry. I mean,
Yeah, I have had discussions with Member Tyson and with Member Corcoran that I disclosed earlier. Another thing that I would disclose to the board, since it's pertinent to whether or not we go on with this discussion this evening, would be that I have been working with Dr. Massey, and administration has recommended 5 additional law firms to get vetted out that would make this a comprehensive list. Assuming that occurs, that would be on the agenda in the next meeting, because it would be a new topic, a new discussion item, and it would not be settled business as this is.
so can we have the superintendent speak to
Yes.
who that is then, or what? Can you fill us
I
in?
would only ask him to do that if he feels it's appropriate, because a lot of times if it's not a selected law firm that we're presenting to the board, I don't know if that would cause any problem.
I guess I'm
But,
asking-
Yeah, what I
to-
would offer is, in conversation with the chair, I provided suggestions of where the board might seek legal representation that can represent elected officials. I pointed the chair to different cities that have legal representation, to reach out to attorneys that represent cities and sit at city council meetings as a way to provide that element. I would offer to the board from my perspective that we can reach a comprehensive set of legal counsel in steps and stages. I would certainly recommend that we proceed, given the, I think, urgent nature of having legal representation for the district with the list that's being provided here. It's a list that I've provided for the board. That doesn't mean we can't, once the other city attorneys are vetted and there's a possibility of adding those folks to the list, we can certainly do that as well. I don't think there's any guidelines or rules that say we can't have 30 people on that list. The idea is to get good representation in the event that the district needs legal counsel. And I think that's a really prudent move of the board.
Okay.
Member Castle?
We'll be receiving that list shortly.
I've shared that with
Yeah,
the chair, and
I
the chair
have
is
that.
vetting that list.
Yep, I have that. If any board member would like it, I'm happy to share that. And if anybody has opinions, I'm happy to hear them.
And that'll be on the next board meeting agenda?
That is my hope, yes.
Your hope? Okay.
Yeah, it does take time to vet legal counsel, as you well know.
Yeah, so that's all of our job then. So I would like the list.
I will share that list with the board this evening.
Great, thank you.
Is there any other discussion on the amendment? Member Christensen?
You've mentioned a couple of times that this matter is considered settled business or permanently settled. Can you clarify under what rule you would say this matter is considered permanently settled?
We
business?
held a vote on it. The vote failed. There was no motion to amend the question or to divide the question, therefore it is settled business.
I disagree with that that if the board has a desire to bring something back for further consideration, it can be done that. I don't think.
The board as a body can do that, yes, an individual board member cannot.
But
So
then
it could
as a-
be,
So you have a motion on the table.
To
I, as the
reconsider.
chair, so just for clarification here, The board can add anything they want to the agenda at any time, but it would be inappropriate for me as the chair, this is what I shared in the email as well, to continually put something that I want on the agenda simply because it's something that I want if the board continuously says no. So for example, if I have topic A and I want topic A to pass, and the board says no, which is what happened in this case, it would be inappropriate for me to continually put it on the agenda until I get what I want. That would be inappropriate. But if the board as a body selects at a later date that they made the wrong choice on a matter, they can always bring it back through the amendment process that we're doing now, add it back to the agenda, and change their mind at any point in time. But for a board chair, when they're preparing an agenda to propose to the board, it is inappropriate for me to use my personal feelings to continually inject the same question back. Does that make sense, Member Christensen?
Well, I think that's an interesting comment because you, in this same group that we voted down was the Beck Law Firm, Beck Law Group. And then you, as the chair, went back again at the next meeting and put Alex Beck
Correct.
on the agenda.
And I explained that already as well. I added the Beck Law Group to the agenda, what would have been 2 weeks ago, because the reason, or at least the reason that the members shared that evening for voting against that bundled agenda item was that they wanted the policies vetted and reviewed by legal counsel. We did not have legal counsel approved that could do that vetting. So I brought that law firm back to the board 2 weeks ago for consideration so we could get those policies vetted and reviewed per the members' requests, the members that voted against the overall motion in the first place. So that is the reason that the Beck Law Group was brought back 2 weeks later. It was a completely different question, and it was trying to satiate the board's desire to have the policies reviewed.
I would disagree that it was a completely different reasoning.
That is fine. Member Tyson?
So I just have a quick clarification, Board Chair. Your answer was a little convoluted about, if you keep putting something on as the chair and it keeps getting voted down, you're not going to bring it back. So I just want to be clear that the agenda, which you work with the superintendent, is for us. It's for our meeting, and we can add things as well, correct?
To a point, yes. As I explained to you in the email, the proposed agenda, what I prepare for approval, what we're actually discussing right now, that is the board chair's prerogative. That's my responsibility to put that together. Once the agenda is adopted and approved by the board, it becomes property of the board, so to speak. And my responsibility then shifts from presenting and preparing an agenda and proposing one to making sure that we adhere to it. And like I explained to you in email, that is where the consternation on the December 4th special order of business came from. Was I was enforcing the agenda as approved by the board that evening. And it was no longer my agenda, it was our agenda. It was now my job to enforce it.
Okay. That's not completely clear and not how I see it, but I feel like the Beck Law Group was brought back because you had worked with this lawyer,
No, the
correct?
Beck Law Group was brought back because multiple members, I believe yourself and Member Corcoran
Was not me,
indicated.
so don't include me in that.
Okay.
You can ask Member Corcoran.
Okay. The multiple board members had expressed interest in having those policies reviewed by legal, and it indicated that they would not vote to support those changes without having legal counsel review it. That was the most relevant legal counsel individual that we had identified that would review those policies. That is why it was brought back a couple of weeks later. That point is not germane to whether or not we
Okay.
should be adding this to the agenda. We are getting way off topic here. So
And I believe
think
I asked for it to go back to the policy committee, not
the
to
policy
be-
committee
Right.
refused to hear. We
Okay.
did present
I
that
didn't know
option to the
that
policy
either.
committee. The policy committee declined.
Okay. We are off topic, so I agree.
Yes.
We should move forward.
Okay. Is there any other discussion on Member Corcoran's amendment to the agenda?
I'm just going to quick say one thing.
Yes.
If that's okay. The only thing, I'm truly am worried that right now, if something happened, we don't have, if something bad and a law, something came up and we didn't have the right representation, we are really putting the district at risk. I don't see why this is such a hard thing to have happen for us. I mean, if it's what the administration wants, we're supposed to be listening to what they need and what they want. I don't know why we're battling this. It just seems it seems like we're putting a lot of energy towards something that should be really simple just to do. So I guess I'm just trying to figure out why. But
I believe I shared that sentiment a month ago when I voted in favor. Member Atkinson?
No, I guess I don't think I'm,
Okay.
I think there's a big point of relevance that some people on the board are choosing to ignore about why we have come to this position, where we're asking some of us having on the agenda school district representation, and then specifically school board representation in case it is needed, not so we can go spend a bunch of money wildly. And I just think it deserves to be noted that
I don't understand about what you're
Yeah,
talking
I
about
don't
money.
either.
This is just having legal counsel
I understand what you're asking
available.
for. I'm saying,
It's just available to us if needed. It's not like we're spending money to
no,
do
no.
it.
I'm talking about schools, district-specific representation is what you're talking about. General legal counsel for the school district. I think equally as important to that is figuring out the other piece, how we came with having Alec Beck on there in the first place. And I think what's happening here with your proposal to amend the agenda is ignoring that very important piece.
Two separate items. It's what's best for our district. We're not looking for the other piece. I mean, this is just administration's recommendation. We're just trying to adhere to what we, as good governance for
Yes.
what our jobs are, to protect our district. That's why we're on the school board, to do what's best for our students and for our community and for our district. So that's what I'm fighting for. So,
I think that's why everybody comes to this position.
yeah.
Yeah.
Member Castle?
I would request that whatever apparent deficiencies that we have in our representation and the recommendations that are forthcoming and the list of folks that we'll be talking later, where they fall into those categories. So we know where to look and what to look up once we get these names and be able to compare.
I can take that back. Is there any other discussion on the amendment? All right, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
No. Okay, the amendment fails. Brings us back to the main motion on approving the meeting agenda. Is there any other discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that motion carries. That brings us to the superintendent search update, and I am very happy to welcome Dr. Dan Bittman from Ray and Associates. Welcome, Dr. Bittman.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Massey. Pleasure to be here in person. It's been a wonderful partnership thus far. So my intent tonight is to provide a little update on where we're at, as well as to gain some understanding and feedback from you as we progress throughout the search. First and foremost, the audience as well as the public have a copy of the presentation online, so they can certainly look at it, and that's provided for you as well as them. Up to date, we have done a lot of good work together. And so, as you might remember, because Forest Lake had done some initial work, we adjusted some of the timelines and processes to meet your needs and the community needs. As to date, we have been able to do a number of things. One, the position is posted on MSBA, AASA, as well as MASA. It's posted on your website, and it has been distributed to every candidate that previously expressed interest, and I have been in contact with each of them as well. In addition to that, because it is posted on our website on Ray and Associates, we get approximately 28,000 hits a month. And so you can imagine the number of people who have had visibility with that. We also sent that out to our entire database of superintendents throughout the country who are looking for positions. To date, as of this morning, 11 people have filled out an application. Those applications come from Minnesota, North Dakota, Idaho, and Iowa. A number of those individuals, even from out of state, have experience in this particular area or some type of ties. In addition, I've had conversation with at least 7 additional superintendents or people who are interested in becoming the superintendents, several of them who have either graduated from Forest Lake or already live in the Forest Lake area. And so I've been really pleased to some of the conversations that are happening. We have a very engaged community here in Forest Lake. You know that we distributed for our community, our public, our students and staff, a survey in both Spanish and English. As of this morning, we have 527 people who have completed that survey. That is significantly higher than most school districts get in total. In addition to that, as I talked about 11 or 12 applicants already applying, to give you an idea, there's a number of school districts who have positions posted now and are just concluding their search that have got less than 20 applicants total. And we are very early on in our process. And so people are excited about Forest Lake. They're thinking about Forest Lake, and I'm appreciative of that. I also have had the opportunity to meet one-on-one with each of the board members. The final interview was set for tomorrow with the last board member. We're just working on schedules. A lot of similarities and a lot of great feedback. So we're using your feedback as a board. We're using the surveys from our students, our staff, families, and community. We're using listening sessions, which I'll talk about with you and get some feedback from you about tonight. And we'll use all of that feedback to develop criteria about what we're using to screen the applications that we come through. And so that's the process that we do. In mid-process, and we'll talk about dates in a minute, I will bring those back to you. I will provide access for each of you to have access to all of the materials that are submitted. I will ask that prior to that time, each board member signs a confidentiality agreement, because that information is not public and cannot be public throughout the process. But we allow that, and we appreciate that, because we want you to have an opportunity to do everything you can to learn about the candidates. I will then select a number of candidates, typically around 10 candidates, to bring to the April 2nd board meeting. You will have the information ahead of time, but I will say, based on the criteria that you and others in your community said, these are the candidates that best match what you have said you are looking for. We will then have conversations about them. I will then facilitate a conversation with the board, allowing each one of you individually to rank the candidates against each other. I will then collect all those individual things back and be able to identify with you the data that shows, based on the entire board's feedback, here are the top 6 candidates that you might want to consider, 4 to 6 candidates, and might want to consider to bring back for a semifinalist interview. We will then facilitate a semifinalist interview with those 4 to 6 candidates, the numbers you choose, and of course you can choose however many you want to, but that's typical, 4 to 6. I will then go through the same exercise with you, providing opportunities for discussion, individual opportunities for you to rank the candidates after you've had a chance to look at the materials, get the feedback, interview them in the semifinalists, and encourage the board to identify 1 to 3 candidates that they would like to bring back for finalist interviews. Those finalist interviews will then be conducted here, as you know, at the district, and then ultimately after those 3, when we do our exercise, you'll be able to see as a board who your top candidates are with the data. And then we'll facilitate a conversation about the candidates, and ultimately the board will then hopefully select one of those 3 candidates based on the conversation and data, and then we are happy to assist with any type of negotiations that happens across the board. So in general, that's a little bit of some of the things that we're going to be thinking about. You know who we are. I'm hoping tonight to get some feedback and to approve and a timeline that we will do. We talked already about the online survey that's out there. Of the 527, only 2 of them are students. So I'll be working with Joy and others. I'm hopeful that we can do some things within the district to get more student voice, just to make sure that we have that as well. Oftentimes, for example, at a high school, they might do that in a homeroom or an advisory type experience. But again, you as a district get to decide that. But my hope is that we'll get a little bit more feedback. And then again, we'll talk a little bit more about the semifinalists. You have this document. We talked about that in the proposal, just the different stages that come along. So the school board obviously has a lot of opportunity and feedback throughout the process. This is your search. You get to decide to do that, and we facilitate that along the way. We're meeting with the board tonight. Some of the activities or the other dates we've done. So our online application has been distributed, it's available. We've notified all associates, we've contacted all our constituents and stakeholders, or will be contacting all our constituents and stakeholders for input meetings. So in the listening session, I'm suggesting that we do that March 13th, that we have a combination of both virtual and in-person for the public as well, but have an opportunity for listening sessions, for example, with staff or students, leadership, etc. So one of the things I'll be asking for tonight is an agreement on that particular date, and then I would work with the board as well as the administration to have someone come up and conduct those listening sessions. We then will bring all the feedback back and again share that feedback with you. In listening sessions, we recommend that board members not be involved in that because we want people to have an opportunity to freely speak what they're thinking about, what they're excited about, and then again, we will bring all that feedback back to you so that you have that in a summary. We've done the online link that is out there. That's going to close later in March, the 16th, and then we have the 19th, and that's the deadline. So we will be then putting a report together with all of that feedback. You'll get to see every single comment and every single purpose. Many boards and school districts decide to put that on their website so they can say these are what your stakeholders have said, what they're looking for, what their hopes and dreams are, etc. And so I'll continue to work with those that you've asked me to work with in the school district. The flyer's already out, and you see the deadline on March 19th. My hope is that on April 4th, if you were to approve this timeline, that on April 2nd, rather, that we will be able to present those candidates to you based on the criteria. Again, that's what we talked about earlier about bringing 10 candidates, however many qualify, to you for conversation and consideration as semifinalists and then finalists. I know I'm speaking fast, so I'll give you an opportunity to ask questions as well. If you support the timeline, we would then conduct interviews for the top candidates that you chose for semifinalist interviews the evenings or late afternoons of April 14th and 15th. And then after the meeting on the 15th, the semifinalist interviews, I again would work with the board to identify the candidates that the board is interested in bringing back as finalists. A week later, we would interview the finalists. Typically, as I said, there's 2 or 3, but again, there are times when unique situations come up when a board is able to say, this is our candidate, this is who we want to work with. So again, you would have an opportunity to select. We typically don't encourage boards to have only 2 candidates because if one person decides to drop out, it's really difficult for the board if they choose not to go with that candidate. And so again, typically for semifinalists, we would encourage the board to identify 4 to 6, and then for the finalists, typically 3. After the final interview on the 24th, I will facilitate that conversation. Hopefully you select one of those candidates that you've worked so hard to get, and then you would make an approval or approve to enter into negotiations with that particular candidate. Up until that time, I also will be able to provide the board information about similar school districts and contracts and all of the things so that you have an idea where you stand in neighboring school districts and others that are your size. I'll break that down for you so you have an opportunity to see not only base salary, but some of the other things that are in there, again, for consideration. This board has already set the range of the salary, and again, that's something that I would work with the board at. If you are interested in having me negotiate or serve as that person in between, oftentimes board will do that because it's easier for both sides. You're able to share what you're interested in, what your limitations are. They're able to share what their needs and things that they're thinking about, and I can kind of go back and forth. ultimately bringing it to the board for final approval. So, tonight, we've talked a little bit about the timeline. The first thing I'm really interested in learning from you is how you are feeling about us conducting listening sessions, and then if so, what are some of the groups you would like us to meet with? So first and foremost, do you feel like listening sessions would be an important part of this process for Forest Lake and the community?
I do.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
That's how we conduct anything we do.
Perfect.
Boundary changes, all of the above.
Perfect. I assume that you would say that, and it's been clear from the beginning, you want a robust engagement from all stakeholders so that everybody is committed and has an opportunity to provide feedback. With that being said, are there particular groups you would like us to hold? We will obviously hold one for the public. Other groups that you think might be helpful for us to meet with?
The businesses,
I
local
was gonna
businesses.
ask- Yeah, I was
Yeah,
going to say
like
that
a
too.
chamber, the chamber, Rotary,
I think
different.
the admin group too, and directors,
Yes.
Staffing, yeah.
staff.
Teacher, yeah.
Let me halt everybody here for a minute. Dr. Bittman, what do you recommend?
Yeah, so I think for this particular group, based on the feedback from the interviews and some of the things we had, definitely one for the public, so people have an opportunity to come in person. It would be typical and a recommendation for them to be able to spend time with the administration. Oftentimes, districts will say, we also want an opportunity for staff. Oftentimes, that's a virtual, so that anybody who wants to be a part of that can do that virtually and at the convenience of their home or as they're
Okay.
not interrupting the day. And then we also oftentimes in districts recommend that there's an opportunity to meet with a student group.
Yes.
Typically, the district gets to decide that in terms of, in collaboration with the superintendent, if there are certain groups that are already established or are there others that they want to meet. I think it's always relevant and important to get student voice if that's something that's
Definitely.
important for you.
Yeah, I think that's great. And we could incorporate the businesses in the public meeting.
Right.
We could just kind of tell them that that's available for them to come to.
And
That's
we
true.
could, should you decide as a
Yeah.
board, feel that it's appropriate, asking the Rotaries, the chambers,
Yeah, yeah,
typically the
yeah.
mayor, some business
Yes.
mayors, that would be a typical session that we would hold, and we'd provide an opportunity for feedback. And their information remains confidential, but what we do is we provide summaries for the board to say, okay, here are all the different listening sessions. Here's the feedback, where things were common, where things were different, things they would like the board to think about as they hire the next superintendent.
That's good.
Okay. Are we comfortable with the proposal that Dr. Bittman just laid out?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. Did you have something
Those
to add?
business, well, yeah, I mean, and everybody, the business owners to sorry, guys, leadership, all of that, mayors, because we've got 6 communities within
Yeah.
Forest Lake, Columbus and Wyoming. I mean, all of those people also can do this survey, correct?
They can.
Yeah, and okay.
Yeah, and the survey in particular is a really good way for everyone to provide feedback. So I would really encourage you to do another blast, and I can certainly work with Joy and others as we think about that. That is a major
Yeah.
touch point for community, to be able to share everything that's on their heart and mind. And again, we're going to provide access to you of all of that feedback, and you
Yeah.
can consider and talk about as a board at some point whether you want that to be on your website even. Again, Forest Lake School District is doing a really nice job of getting voice and engagement from all of its different stakeholders, and it's going to be really clear. You're going to have so much information from our students, our staff, our families, our community, our business leaders, et cetera, for you to consider. And this is arguably the most important job that you have in hiring that. In addition to that, when we do the finalist interviews, we can talk about that along the way, all the opportunities people have had an opportunity to engage in that process, and how the board has reviewed all of that information to make their decision. And so again, just a reminder to our public that not only is it a priority for you, but you have used that feedback along the way to inform your decisions.
I just want to say I really appreciate the ability on that survey to freeform, right? I mean, yeah, I just appreciate that, and it just gives everybody their own individual voice. I mean, the questions and quality, the pre-written things are great too, but I appreciated that.
Thank you
on
so
there.
much.
Mhm.
Please expound on the non-public aspect of any of the interviews or listening sessions?
Can you repeat one more time?
You were saying that there was some private information that would be gathered later and shared. So if the board is listening, that's a quorum, and it has to be public, unless
No.
we have a closed session and then publish it later.
Yeah. So let me reiterate, and maybe it's not the question you're asking me, so I might need some help from you. What's private is all of the application type materials and what they submit. The only time that becomes public is once you as a board have voted and identified semifinalists publicly. So I will request to have a confidentiality agreement ahead of time from you, so that before we get into a board meeting to talk about those candidates, you've had an opportunity, each of you, to review all of those materials ahead of time. Just be more well-informed when we have the conversation at the board table. The listening session part is we ask board members not to be part of that. It is considered a public meeting, but the reason we ask board members not to be involved in that is because we want people, whether it's students, admin, families, community, we want them to speak from their heart and to really identify the things that are on their heart and mind that they want the board to talk about. What we have found, oftentimes, I think Dr. Massey might say, when he walks into the room, because he's a superintendent, it changes the flavor of the meeting. Even if he's well-liked and people care about him, because he is there, people will not feel as comfortable. Similar in this situation. Board members who are in that meeting might create pause for some people who really want to share what's on their heart and mind. So once we get that information, I'll put that together in a summary and share that with the full board. That document could be public. Does that answer your question?
Yes, will you be recording it then?
I
So
will
then
not.
you can gather,
Nope, we will
Maybe
have
just
people.
jotting down
Yeah, we
notes.
will have people there taking notes and facilitating. Yeah.
Okay.
Member Tyson?
So I have a question, Dr. Bittman, about the process and specifically about the survey that you mentioned. So I've talked about with you how geographically we're the third largest district in the state, and we have our community school, elementary schools. Do you see where the survey results come from, so that we know that maybe out in Linwood we need to push it out because only 10% of surveys came from there?
We don't, and I wish I would have talked with you ahead of time and figure out a way to possibly do that. We are able to identify who they are. You know, if they're a
Okay.
parent, if they're a staff member, if they're a student, but we don't have the specific location.
Location.
We've never done that before, and maybe that's something we need to bring back to other searches to ask about, because that might be relevant in communities that have that widespread
Right.
geographic distance.
Right, and we don't just work with Forest Lakes mayor municipalities, we have Columbus, we have Lino Lakes, we have them all that our superintendent engages with, and
And we will work with the staff and administration to
Okay.
identify those folks, especially for listening sessions. So it's not uncommon for districts to not necessarily put them out as a public, anyone who wants to come to do that, but to generate lists, as you're indicating, like we want every mayor, we want every chamber, we want the Rotary, to identify groups, because those are groups that you interact with as a district more frequently. The one that is public typically is the one that's just open to everybody in person, where anybody from anywhere in the area can come and speak their mind on what their hopes and dreams are.
Okay, and then one last question, quick. When you synthesize the data down, do you give it to us like incrementally? This portion's done, here's the data, or how does all that synthesized data come to us?
It's a good question. It will come to you as an executive summary.
Okay,
And so
perfect.
it will be a document that everything is in.
Oh,
And so-
one big one at the end?
Well, particularly for the listening sessions.
Okay.
So in terms of the survey, for example, you're going to get a copy of a really extensive report that has all of the information, all of the comments, the percentages, everything that you have, again, just to inform what you're doing. The last thing I didn't talk about was you're going to have one additional touch point that separates, I think, or differentiates our firm from others. And when we finish up the criteria together, the listening sessions, the feedback you've provided, your community's provided, we will identify the themes or questions that you want to know more about from the people you choose as semifinalists. Some of those that I'm hearing from you and others is just an important to really be engaged with our community. There might be some characteristics that you and your community want around fiscal management. There might be some around student achievement, and we have such amazing programming. So glad that you're all here tonight, and then I get to go first. I did not want to follow you. To have that. And so what we'll do is I'll work with you to identify 3 or 4 questions. Part of the information that you're going to see is a spontaneous completion of those 4 questions on the spot, where they have 2 minutes of a video, not knowing the question, that they're going to have to just talk about it. And so you're going to have, that's another touch point for you to see how they react under pressure to topics that you are interested in, and that will also be part of your application materials for consideration.
Member Chair, I just have
Yeah.
one last
Yeah, go
question, I
ahead.
promise.
Yep.
So, the very conclusion is a presentation, though, by the top candidates that we select, correct?
Say that differently.
So, when we come down to that finalist selection on the 20th with the top candidates, they present to the board, correct?
Well, we have a number of things we can talk about. That would be
Okay.
unusual for most
What?
school districts because they've had so many different touch points in terms of video and survey and semifinalists and finalists. But a presentation can certainly be part of that. That really is you as a board interviewing them. And so in this situation, it might be that person here. You finalize questions that are really important. Oftentimes, it's with a number of people in the community or others who are interested in that process in the audience, but that's really the engagement of you asking specific questions to that person.
So, when I did this the last time we hired Superintendent Massey, we had the presentations. And it's not really so much a Q&A, but it's them coming in and presenting on our district. We're hearing how they synthesize and come across with information that they know. I just found that really valuable.
Perfect. So that is absolutely something we can do. So my recommendation, if you're open to it, would be when we identify the semifinalists and we go through those interviews and we identify those 3 finalists or however many they are, there's probably some topics that you really want to know a lot about from those candidates. So at that meeting, we could certainly talk about that, and then I could prepare the finalists to say, you're going to have this amount of time to give a presentation on this particular topic. So that's something that the board can decide, and we can do that after we do the semifinalist interviews.
Yeah, I mean, everything that you're talking about, but that, to us, I mean, when we had those presentations, that's where we really, truly got to know our candidate. I feel like that was.
Say that one more time.
When we
Epson.
had those, when they came and presented, because they were kind of even, like, we were kind of like in that, they were all really strong in a lot of ways, but that really made, Dr. Massey shine above the other candidates because it was the presentation skills and what he talked about and how he talked. That's really important.
Kind of was the crowning moment.
It really was, because we were very torn. And I think, because everybody had really, on paper, and everybody seemed really, all the criteria we had, and they were real similar, but that was really a key thing for us. And I
Yeah,
think
and
we'd like to keep that.
This really, as I said, this is your search.
Yeah.
So if that's something the board is interested in as a whole, that they're interested in identifying a topic, having them present, we will absolutely be able to integrate that.
important, yeah.
So we can definitely have more conversation about that when we talk about the finalist interviews and what we would like that to look like. But
Okay.
we're very open to that.
Great.
So I'm looking for approval for the timeline that we talked about.
Can we go back to the
Yeah, go
timeline,
back.
because we have a couple of conflicts in the timeline. I noticed March 13th was on there. Dr. Massey pointed out we're still on spring break,
Oh, yeah.
On which date?
March 13th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'd like
Yes.
members here to check their schedule to see if they have any commitments, because I have a prior commitment on April 23rd and 24th, so.
Okay, let's start with the listening session, if we can. If that is our spring break, might you be open the 16th or 17th of March?
That would be the week following, I believe.
That would be good. The 16th is committee night.
Well, and that,
Would that work?
And that's not for us.
I'm
That's
sorry,
for,
that's
that's
for- yeah.
listening session.
no,
listening
the
session.
16th is a Monday.
It's a Monday.
that's
And the
for-
17th is a Tuesday, so that would not be for the board, that would be
No.
for the general public.
Gotcha, and I
people.
was looking at April, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I do think it would be wise that we don't do that during spring break, so if we could do that on the 16th or the 17th, I think that would, Member
Could I just
Christensen?
make a comment? I mean, our spring break for elementary starts tomorrow, Friday, so I is that enough time for people to know if people are going out of town? I feel like
Yeah.
the
Yeah, we're
16th,
kinda
17th,
losing a
hey, it's
week.
listening session. I mean, if people are out of town, they're just coming back into town.
I
I would
agree, yeah.
Push it the next
push
week.
that
The
at
next
least,
week.
you know, a few days out, or maybe
23rd
even the next week. I think that's a little too soon.
Yeah, and I think we
People
kind
aren't
of
gonna be
lose
checking
that
their,
week.
yeah, people aren't gonna be checking their emails during spring break
Yeah.
and stuff. so.
And then when they come back, it's, you know, it's gonna
Okay.
be,
They're catching up.
Yeah. I have a
Right.
question then, Dr. Bittman, if we end up moving that
Pushing
listening
everything.
session, this specific public one,
keep
and
it
we end
pushing.
up bumping it a week or two, what does that do to our overall timeline?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was looking at, as we
Yeah.
look at our timelines.
well, I'd be okay with that. I mean,
So-
when is our drop dead date?
We're going to review as a board
Yeah,
the 14th of April. And so going back, the deadline for the search itself, for the application, is the 19th. So ideally, when our team starts screening applicants after the deadline on the 19th, we will want to have heard from all the people in the listening sessions because we use that feedback as one of the criteria or some of the criteria for evaluating the process. So really the listening session ideally would happen before the 19th. I'm
Before March
appreciating.
19th.
Yes, so I'm appreciating your comment about spring break and
Yeah.
the importance of notice.
It is.
A lot of times what folks will do is, as I said, they'll identify, or we can work with the administration if it's something that's of interest to you, where we would identify certain parents that could be part of that would be representative of the area. But if you are thinking you want to do that differently, I'd love to hear any possibilities or thoughts that you have.
well, how would pushing it back a week, I mean, how would it, I mean, is there a drop dead date that we have to have the candidate in place?
No.
Okay,
That-
so we can push it into May if we needed to.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think,
I think we have to.
I wonder, because, like I said, I have a
Allow
prior
people.
commitment on April 23rd or 24th, if we bumped
Yep.
do you have the
How about the 30th?
the timeline kind of on one slide all?
I don't.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
I kinda wish
April
we did.
30th
Because if
would
we
be-
bumped it 1 week, I wonder
think
how that
we
would
Yeah,
work
it's
out.
not,
Bump
it would
everything a
not be a
week?
problem to adjust the 4/14 and 4/15 date or the next
Keep pushing it
week,
back. Yeah.
the 23rd and 24th a week to the last week, if that's
We're
what you're
busy the
suggesting.
20th.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe
think
with
everything
spring break, maybe we
yes.
push everything 1 week
1 week.
back
Yeah.
from
Mhm.
kind of what we
I think
have
that's a good
proposed
I
here.
agree,
suggestion.
I agree.
And I would suggest that the board kind of,
Mm-hmm.
we approve this with a soft approval. Dr. Bittman and I will work together, and I'll work with all board members to make sure we don't have any conflicts, because this is something we want all 6 of us there for,
Yeah.
the interviews
100%.
for every
Super
meeting.
important,
So we
yeah.
might have to pivot some things here, but
That would be
I feel
great.
like I'm suggesting to Dr. Bittman, let's punt this 1 week on pretty much every point.
Yeah,
We'll see how that aligns, and maybe you can bring that schedule back to me. I'll share it with the
Yeah.
board, and then we'll share it back with you and say, these are our
I think
days.
that'll be great.
can you
Yeah?
push the,
Okay.
can I see the earlier? There, okay. So it'd be like the,
yeah, I have a
Interview the
conflict
top
April
candidate.
23rd.
As do I.
Okay.
yeah, the
Yeah.
14th and 15th, so it would be
Isn't the FFA the 26th?
the 20, yeah. I
March.
just think
Yeah.
it's really hard with spring break. Looking at
It
everything,
is.
you know,
It
you really
is.
got to give them time.
Well,
They're
this is
busy.
why we
Right,
have
but
the
if we push
discussion.
everything
Yeah, I
back-
think a
Correct.
week,
This
give
is-
it at least a week.
So if I'm
Thursday,
hearing you, what we'll do is we'll look to pushing that out a week.
And
Yep.
I'll work with you, maybe we can connect even as early as tomorrow.
Yep, we can
Start
connect tomorrow
talking
morning.
about those dates. I can send that back. We don't need an official approval,
Correct.
tonight.
Right.
So really, this feedback is exactly what we need. I think I'm hearing, so this is me checking in. We really are appreciating and looking forward to the listening sessions for our different groups. You're supportive of having, 4 to 6 candidates for a semifinalist. Depending on that, we'll identify how many finalists that we have. And then I will typically bring back about 10 for you to choose from based on the criteria that we have from all of the different groups and listening sessions.
Perfect. And then let's you and I plan to connect again tomorrow.
That'd be great.
And then I will share the outcome of that discussion with the rest of the board
Yeah,
and
make sure.
gather feedback. Member Christensen?
I would just like to request, Dr. Bittman, when you're emailing back and forth and talking, I would request to include the chair and the vice chair.
Oh, perfect.
Please do that. You don't have to include all of us
Yeah.
But I think the vice chair, that was the original
Yep.
motion or the
Oh, yeah.
original intent to work with the chair and the vice chair. So if you could please do that. I would
That'd be
appreciate
great.
that.
Is anyone have concerns about that? Just want to be thoughtful to the whole board and
Good
making sure
idea.
folks,
That'd be great.
okay,
Yeah.
that's great. I'll be happy to
Thanks,
do
Jill.
that.
Yeah.
Other questions, other feedback, other things you're thinking about? Again, this is your search, so we want to make sure we're meeting your needs.
Okay, so if there was something on the 19th, we don't want to push it to the 26th, that's the FFA banquet. So we want to have it,
So the 19th is just the application deadline.
Yep.
oh, okay.
So we're probably
Okay.
okay from a meeting standpoint
Mm-hmm.
there, but I'm appreciating the date, because we'll want to be thinking about
Yeah.
that for other meetings.
So you might, if you could check with Joy of any of the major event things that folks are going to be wanting to go to,
That'd be great.
especially with parents and students listening session type things,
That would be great.
and staff.
Good idea.
All right.
Other questions or things you're thinking about? I know, Mr. Chair, we've had lots of conversations about information that would be helpful for the board, so I hope that this presentation and the information opportunity to dialogue has been a good use of your time.
Yeah, definitely.
Very
And with
good.
that, I would encourage all members to reach out to Dr. Bittman. Anytime a question or a concern pops up, you've been really receptive to my phone calls and my texts, probably some of them in irritating times in the morning and night. This is really our process as a board, and I don't want anybody to feel that they're excluded from it in any way, shape, or form.
There is
Member
one
Atkinson.
request I have. There is a link for the board to complete a very brief survey about the characteristics you're looking for. I would ask that you do that. The reason I do is because that's also aligned with the one everyone else is filling out. And that really will give you an opportunity to say, are the board's ideas on what we believe is important aligned with what our community? Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not, and that's okay. But it is a good discussion as we're thinking about our candidates.
Would you prefer, let's say we go home, everybody looks at their calendars, spring break's coming up, I'm not leaving, but things, whatever.
I'm busy.
Do you want us to call the board chair, or email him with dates, or just give them directly to you? Like if it's something we realize when we get home, the next 24 hours, the date doesn't work.
Yeah, it's a good
Just tell you.
question. It is going to be really important that everybody's there, but I
Yeah.
think it would be difficult to work with each one of you individually.
Okay.
So I think if I could work with the
Can you text
chair.
me and Kurt?
and
Or
the vice
share
chair.
us,
Yeah,
and then
whatever, yeah.
we'll work together to make sure the
Yeah.
dates all align, right?
Okay,
And
so-
then we'll let
That'd
you
be
know.
great.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
thank you.
think that sounds good.
And I'm very excited and appreciative of the engagement from the board, and I would just say for our communities as well, appreciate you taking this process so seriously and really engaging lots of voice and engagement from folks in our community. It will be, this is speaking from the cheap seats, it will be impossible for you not to find the right candidate by doing all of the engagement and having conversations. So we're going to bring you some good candidates to consider, and I'm already seeing them apply, so thank you
Great.
for that.
That's
Wonderful.
great
It's
news.
exciting.
Yeah.
Did you tell us, and I didn't hear, at what point we will start to be able to review these?
Review the
Oh,
application.
it's going to be after you bring the 10. That's what it is, yeah.
Yeah, after
Okay.
we're able to complete the listening sessions and the
Yeah, okay.
applications close, we
Sorry.
typically take a week to
Yeah.
use the criteria to, and we do that amongst the team, so it's not just one person doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we will, prior to, typically it's the week before or 3 or 4 days before the semifinalist interviews,
Okay.
where you'll have time to do that and be ready for the discussion at the table.
Okay.
I also want to just reiterate, you can reach out to me anytime. You all have my cell phone numbers. This is really important to me, just in my role, as well as for our communities and school districts. So don't ever hesitate.
Would you
Thank you.
share this slide with the group too?
Yes, and it's actually online
Oh,
with
it
the board
is?
materials.
Oh,
So-
well, look at that. Wonderful.
And then that'll be updated when the new dates come in.
Correct.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay,
correct.
Yeah.
well, we'll
So-
look for that.
I'm very visual, so when we get an updated timeline, we'll get that
Yeah.
from the chair and the vice chair.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we will
Perfect.
put that on one page so
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
it. So this is more aligned with the different phases of the search.
Right.
But we will have a one-page document that identifies every single thing.
Perfect.
And I'll share that with the rest of the board as soon as I get it back from Dr. Bittman, and then we'll adjust it if necessary, so we can accommodate all 6 of us.
Okay. Great.
Any other questions?
No. Thank you.
Thank you for trusting in me and Ray and Associates. We're glad to support.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank you for coming in here this evening
Yeah.
and speaking with us, addressing all our questions, concerns, and for all of your time that you've put in thus far and your continued commitment to the district.
Thank you so much. It's a
Definitely
pleasure.
love all your positivity.
This is a fun part, so
Yes,
thank you so
great.
much.
Well, thank you.
All right. Thank you for being here. That brings us to scheduled and unscheduled visitors. I do have one green card, so we can start with that this evening. It's former board member Moorhead. Do I need my preamble this evening, Member Moorhead? Are you good?
I'm good, and
All
I'm
right.
so happy to be able, I had to be very creative to get a reason why I could speak. And Member Anderson is part of my reason, because I'm sure in your report, you're going to share some of the fun things from the FFA advisory group that she and I both were on, and both found outstanding students, as you're going to hear again behind me, I'm sure, because that seems to be all we have here. But I was so appreciative of Member Anderson's questions, because we were both newbies on that interview process, and I think it went pretty well, and like I say, she had some very interesting questions, and I think we have some good candidates for them, and they seem to agree, so it's kind of a positive happening, but I didn't know how to sneak it into to that, so just a hats off to the FFA group and being on the advisory, and Mark is on there too. They're just doing such good work, so thank you for your time.
Thank
And
you.
are you going to plug the banquet?
Well, I'm sure that
26.
they can plug it
We'll
because
keep saying it.
I think
they've
I've-
got their
I don't
tickets
think
too,
I've
and
ever-
I'll plug it for the community at large because it's pretty fascinating how the students put it together and pick their leaders, and yeah, it's like everything else around here. It's pretty impressive. So thank
And
you.
I went to my first one
thank
with
you.
you, Member Moorhead.
Oh gosh, how many years ago?
I don't know, but you told me the cake was going to be good, and it was.
And she makes the best punch also. Don't forget to ask for the recipe.
Yes.
And just a
Sorry, don't wanna take
reminder,
any more time.
Thank you.
it is a
Thanks, Karen.
formal
Thank you.
event.
Get out your tux.
All right, that brings us to the listening session. I have Member Christensen and Member Corcoran.
Well, we had a very small group, and we discussed the school board application for the open seat, talked a little bit about that and opportunities for that. And then also we talked about our legal counsel, how they were worried about not having enough legal representation. So those were our two topics of conversation.
All right, anything to add, Member Christensen? No. Okay.
To add.
Thank you. That will bring us to student achievement. Finally, the student report. We have Forest Lake Area High School Medical Careers and Health Occupation Students of America, and we have Ms. Johnson here this evening. Welcome.
Thank you. You guys are so patient.
Thank
Thank
you for being patient.
Yes.
You're
welcome. You're welcome. They listen to
You're starting to look at all of that.
They listen to me ramble once in a while. So, first of all, thanks for having us. I'm Tracy Johnson. I've got some awesome students with me here. I have the absolute privilege of teaching both at the community school and at the high school. I teach EMR and EMT at the high school. My colleague Jody Ryan teaches many of the nursing classes, CNA, medical terminology, med dosages, help me out. Pharmacology, thank you. Exploring medical careers, I do teach that one as well. So we have fascinating things happen. Karen Moorhead says it, everybody says it, these guys say it. We have far and away, we just have such awesome opportunities here at Forest Lake. I have said it before, I've said it to you, I will say it again. I have hands down the greatest job in this entire district, maybe in any teaching position anywhere, because I get to take high school kids, I get to spend my time with high school kids that are super excited about what they're learning, and then they go out into the world and they make an impact. You know, they do absolutely change lives, or affect them for sure. So, this isn't about me though, this is about these guys. Go ahead, you introduce yourself and just, you talk. It's not me.
Okay. Thank you again for listening to the impact that these classes and this club that has had on our lives and everyone in our community. My name is Eva Prestegard.
And my name is Madeline Bonnet, and Eva and I are seniors here at the high school who have been taking advantage of these medical career courses since our freshman year. Here at Forest Lake, we currently offer 7 healthcare career classes. These include exploring medical careers, medical terminology, medical dosages, pharmacology, emergency medical responder, certified nursing assistant, and emergency medical technician. Between these classes, there are nearly 300 students who are also taking advantage of these health career courses, and the demand is only increasing. In addition, Forest Lake also puts on a two-day medical careers camp for 50 students in the fall, as well as multiple health career field trips throughout the year. These valuable experiences and classes students can take to gain crucial knowledge and skills that will better prepare them for a future in healthcare. Also, thanks to these courses and experiences, Eva and I have found careers that we are both extremely passionate about pursuing. Not only is knowledge obtained, but students can also earn real college credit from these courses and state-recognized certifications. In fact, Eva and I have both worked as nursing assistants in local nursing homes, all because of the opportunities provided here at Forest Lake. In addition to becoming a certified nursing assistant, students can also get certified as an emergency medical technician, choose to work in the field, and even save lives.
Hi, my name is Maybe Hofdahl. I am one of the students currently in our EMT class. I have also completed CNA and in many of our medical career classes.
I'm Felix Jefferson. I've also taken a bunch of medical classes and I'm an EMT. I've taken CNA, Exploring Medical Careers, EMR, and I'm currently in Medical Terminology and EMT.
Through these opportunities, we have also gotten the opportunity to get our BLS certifications, so that's pretty fun. Basic life support certifications that helped me get a raise at my job, so I thought that was important. No, but just having all these opportunities to learn about careers that you want through Exploring Medical Careers or pursue like college courses such as med dosages and pharmacology to further help your career in what a lot of times is nursing, but also just the medical field, I feel is so important. And as an EMT student myself, it definitely shows me how much hard work has to be put into these courses, and it definitely helps me set up for my future.
I can also agree to that. When I first took EMR, I'm actually pretty sure I just picked it because it looked cool. I don't think I had any other reason, but taking that really gave me like a more like purpose in life. Like I really know what I want to do now, and I feel pretty passionate about it. Because before I kind of had no idea. I think I was originally looking into computer science, which I think I would have hated.
So besides the courses here and field trips and such things, in recent years we have a HOSA chapter, which stands for Health Occupation Students of America. Me and Madeline started our local HOSA chapter in the fall of 2024 after connecting on our shared passion in our pharmacology class together. Within that time, we've grown HOSA to nearly 50 active members that have this club that represents what they're actually interested in. In HOSA, we do a variety of things that bring valuable knowledge and opportunities, such as competitions, conferences, volunteering in the community, fundraising and raising awareness for health causes, and then even teaching specific medical skills. Just this year, we've had multiple people and groups place on the leaderboard in our competitions. We volunteered several times at nursing homes, Sweet Living. We are currently planning an entire HOSA week at the high school in which we're making chemo baskets for Minnesota Oncology. We're organizing a drive for a local women and children's shelter and raising awareness for multiple other causes. Our members are exposed to like real world experience and connections that really further their learning and their qualifications for the future. And HOSA has truly changed our lives for the better. I can definitely say our leadership, responsibility, our empathy, and knowledge have grown in many ways. They never would have if not for the opportunities that were provided through HOSA and the classes here. Madeline and I have both been accepted and will be attending some of the best nursing programs in the country because of the experience and background provided right here at Forest Lake High School. The things provided here don't just teach healthcare.
They build leaders, strengthen our community, and prepare students for the real world. Our time in these classes and being a part of HOSO will carry meaningful memories and education through every step of our lives, setting us apart from others. We will forever appreciate that Forest Lake has provided us with the tools to succeed and opportunities that most students are not fortunate enough to have. Thank you so much for your time.
That was amazing.
I feel like I should go to Nurse Antonsen
Well,
first.
thank you. So when the gentleman, you said you signed up for EMR, and it stands for,
Emergency medical responders.
oh, okay, so,
Historically referred to as first responders.
yeah,
EMR is the same level that every police and firefighter are trained.
they are, okay. And you give them, if they go through, they
Yeah,
get
they like
that.
it, they pass it, if
Yeah.
they do well, they decide.
Right, okay.
If they have something they want to pursue, you can take EMT.
So I just love, I mean, as Karen got up here and talked about the FFA, and, you know, I know we have a lot of amazing programs, and,
It's unbelievable.
yeah, and I think as mixing that medical thing with being a teacher, you do probably have the best job
I do.
in the whole world.
Ms.
cool
Ms.
because-
Johnson, can you speak to the, or maybe you guys can as well, how many college credits are you walking
Yes.
out of Forest Lake High School with through this
I
program?
think I currently have 7, and by the end of this year, I think I'll have at least 9 just from the medical classes
Yeah.
alone.
That's nearly a full
Save
semester.
a lot of
Yeah.
money.
Between EMR and EMT, you get 9.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Wow.
12, I think.
Yeah, I think I would have 12 too.
The EMT students are preparing the 2 weeks following spring break. They will be doing ride-alongs, the ones that are 18. We'll be doing ride-alongs with M Health across the street. So this is where my job gets really cool because they are riding on ambulances. I am on Wyoming Fire, so I respond to emergencies. They respond to emergencies. And oftentimes we find ourselves on the same scene. And that's really fun for me.
Yeah.
Because I get to just kind of sit back and go, you know, here it is, this is the real world.
Now you're working with your
Yeah, it's
students
super
as,
cool.
mhm.
I do. I have one student who's currently on the fire department with me, that's the first time it's happened. I've had students who, following graduation, have joined the fire department before, but I have a current student that's on the department with me, so it's.
Very cool.
Jason.
Well, you are very inspiring for your students
Well, thank
because I hear that from their parents
Thank you.
in the past, and I think it's just so amazing. This is a very proud moment for me because we started by just having CNA.
Yeah.
And then it went to EMT, but I would have moms and parents I know go, Gail, guess what? My daughter got into a very competitive nursing program because she had the CNA at high school, at Forest Lake High School, and it's like, you know, it was really hard to get into nursing programs many years ago. It probably still is super competitive. And you get the credits, and you get in, and you have that prior knowledge that just gives you that leg up.
Well, and
So-
it gives them the experience, the confidence,
Yeah.
the medical terminology. Even. It's just anything you can do to yourself.
And then I don't know who had the light bulb that all of a sudden the EMTs were, students were helping at like home games and football games and getting to use their skills. Do you guys still do that?
We did the
It's
freeze.
required.
We
It's
did.
required.
Yeah, we did the freeze tournament in January.
Yep.
Probably like 10 of us sitting there for 15 hours in case
Well,
anybody needed anything.
And Tracy was funny. I tripped walking with Member Corcoran to a football game and skunned my knee through my jeans. But anyway, have never done it again. But Tracy's like, I can get you an ice pack, gal. I can get you an EMT. What do you need? Did you hit your head? No, I'm fine. But thank you for presenting, and I'm so curious about the pharmacology class. Is that hard?
It's definitely a class that we have to study for and pay attention in class, just like any other of the medical classes.
Right.
Yes. So it definitely does take some work and dedication, but it's really worth it.
Yeah.
Pharmacology, med term, all of them. Currently, I'm in, I think, 3 of us are in anatomy and physiology, and I know, four of us? Oh, different hours, perfect. I'd say about half of it I already know from the classes
They
here.
totally just build off each other, which is super nice.
We had a test today, and I aced it because of EMT.
Well, and
when-
so one last question
Oh.
for you, sir. You took the medical terminology. How,
I'm in that right now.
you are, you're in that right now. How is that going? What is that course like?
I say it's going pretty good. I know a lot of stuff from EMR and EMT already.
Okay.
I feel because like
So that
you're
overlapping.
saying, everything overlaps and like you really like get a better understanding of things, and other classes build off of each other.
Wow, well, I see why they're the chosen for health programs at Forsyth High School.
We could have picked any group of 4 or whatever.
Oh, did you
Go,
have?
no, go ahead, Tessa.
I think I might have said this last year when you were here about your medical terminology, because obviously I've been through that, and I've told my 9th grader currently, I'm like, you are taking that class. You don't ever have to go into the medical field, but you will be able to read through articles of any kind that have even just the slightest smidge of medical anything in it and understand.
the whole medical report.
Well, exactly, and a lot of people do if they're not in the field, and I think it's such an important thing to be able to do, is to understand what you're reading without having to look up every third word or whatever. So, and do any of you, did any of you take medical terminology like first, or is that in your process of classes? Does that kind of come a little later?
So you actually, as a freshman, the only medical course you can take is Exploring Medical Careers, which is generally kind of a good one to start on when you're first exploring
Right.
like possibilities and whatnot. And then as soon as you're a sophomore, the medical dosages, medical terminology, and pharmacology class open up as opportunities to
yeah.
take. And then junior year, you can take EMT or
Okay.
EMR, and then senior year EMT and CNA,
Right.
both as a junior and senior. So I took medical terminology as a sophomore, and I thought that was like great timing. It was super nice to do it kind of ahead of some of the other
Yes,
medical
yeah,
classes I took,
absolutely.
because it just made it all that easy.
Right,
Yeah.
excuse me, yeah, for
I had a
sure.
number of students, and I'm sure Jody would say the same thing, that when they take medical terminology, just reading the 1,600 pages of the EMT textbook, they're like, I can remember one kid from last year specifically, he's like, this is so much easier because I took medical terminology.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yes.
So,
Absolutely.
wherever it falls, like these guys said, everything builds on top of the other.
Right.
You know, they all come together to make one heck of an education.
But
for us.
anyone can benefit from medical
100%.
terminology, for sure, yeah.
Well, and I tell these guys, you're taken by, I know about them, I know more about them than they think, just simply when they walk into that EMR room, or for sure when they walk in to take EMT, and absolutely CNA, that everything they're learning is for the benefit of someone else, right? So I know a lot about you, kind of your character, before I even know them. And I think that speaks volumes. We have a lot of really caring, compassionate kiddos. And we have awesome kids here for us.
Member Corcoran.
Oh, I was just going to say, you guys, it's so great to hear what an amazing program and how it's grown
Yeah.
over the years. I remember, Joe Graff, right? He was Mr.
Yeah.
EMT.
Oh, my
He's on the board with
gosh,
me. He sat next to me for
Absolutely.
many years.
And I give Joe.
I mean, he
give Joe
really
so much
was-
credit,
he
and
started
I know.
it.
He
He's
started
very-
it. He did things
Yeah.
like
I
I don't know that I would have the nerve to be like, you know what, we're gonna make high school kids EMTs.
I know.
Right?
I mean, he was a forward thinker. He's a
Absolutely,
great
absolutely.
guy.
And he's the reason that I'm standing here now.
Yeah,
And
he's a
I-
great guy. But, I mean, I just was wondering how much APC, is it AP or CIS classes? I mean, is there a lot of, do they run parallel with like just a regular class and then an option to be higher level? I mean, I don't know how the program works. If you want to, just a little,
Well, it's tech ed. So.
so it's all CIS then classes?
Right, career and tech ed.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, it's concurrent enrollment with
Okay.
Pine Tech.
Okay.
So I
So
can't
most
really
of the
answer that.
classes then that they're taking are really college
The
level.
only one that isn't college credit is Exploring Medical Careers.
So as you're in the program, you're learning, you're getting the credits as you go.
Yes.
That's
Otherwise,
amazing.
Every other one is
I don't
college
think I
credit,
fully
yes.
understood that. So, yeah, that really is clear. What a
There are
great
other
opportunity.
related courses, right?
Yeah.
In
Yes, so-
math,
Yeah.
from
So-
pre-calc, calculus,
Yeah.
AP bio, AP chemistry, AP physics, that round out some of these
Yes,
experiences.
I'm in medical dosages right now, and I find it pretty easy because I've taken AP Pre-Calc and I'm in AP Stats right now. I think a lot of it can go hand in hand. Like when we learned about diabetes, I knew that from AP Bio, and so it's really cool to see how the science and math and even like English classes can relate to them as well.
So just a quick question. I know, like, when you were in ninth grade and you took that first, introductory class, I mean, were you even sure that you were, when you were just kind of trying it out, right?
Yeah,
Or were you interested before? I mean, I just think it's great that you have an opportunity to try it,
Yes,
that
I
introductory
know
course.
a lot of people, those classes completely, like they weren't even going to go medical, kind of like Felix has talked about. I kind of knew I wanted medical, but I didn't know what. And I did take Exploring Medical Careers my freshman year, and I decided I wanted that hands-on, I wanted to be with patients, and I wanted to be making like a direct impact, and I said I wanted to be a nurse. And then kept taking more classes, and then when we started HOSA, for a competition we created a display board about a health career, and we did nurse anesthetist. And after learning about it, that's now what I want to do. And so yeah, I'm majoring in nursing, and well, hopefully apply for a doctorate program in a few short years.
Wow, best of luck. I mean, I just think it's great. It's just is amazing what Forest Lake offers all the students, because you don't know the path until you find it, right?
Yeah.
What your passions are going to lead you to. So
You don't know what you don't-
congratulations.
you don't know what you don't know, like-
You don't know. That's exactly what I say. Yeah.
I've had a number of kids that are like, I didn't know what I was getting into, and this is awesome, you know? So this is what I want to do. I'm like,
Well, thank you for sharing your passion with the students and doing such a great job. Thank you.
Yeah.
Member Christensen.
I just wanted to say one more thing about how you're talking about how you're all kind of in a lot of the same classes and you really feel like a family. The last 2 years I've had the privilege to go to your, you have kind of a separate little graduation party. And it's so great. I mean, if you want to go and just have a really positive feeling, feel good, you can see how close you guys are, how much time you spend together, and there's been some great speakers. The student, the female student that was there last year, she's in the military or something, and she had, I mean, so to hear some of the previous graduates, and I mean, it's just, that's a really, it's a busy time of year, but that's a really feel-good, awesome thing to go to.
We'll let you
Yeah.
know.
Oh, let us
Yeah,
know.
let us know, yeah.
Is that at early in the morning, right? Or is
No,
it-
we do it after school. We just do a
Okay.
potluck in the cafeteria.
But you can just see how you guys bond and how important you guys are to each other, and what a real family it feels like.
Also, they definitely get, when they first start, I say, take a look around this room. You might not know somebody sitting here, but these will be your best friends. by the time
It's
we're
wonderful.
halfway through, so.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for giving us the
Yeah,
opportunity.
well,
Very,
of course.
very
Thanks for
exciting.
organizing.
That sounds
Yeah.
I had a couple of questions here as well. You mentioned that you were accepted into different colleges, and looking at the two on the end. Where to?
I applied a lot of places, and I just recently decided that I'll be attending the University of Wisconsin-Madison for nursing.
Okay.
I'm committed to the University of Minnesota Twin Cities for nursing.
Okay, then I think I'm going to single out, is it Eva?
Yes.
Okay, Eva, University of Wisconsin-Madison happens to be my son's transplant center. They just came home from there yesterday, spent a full day there. We deal with nurse anesthetists there all the time. Not that the University of Minnesota is an excellent choice there. And who knows, maybe one day you'll walk into my son's medical room. One day
And these
soon.
two need to brag a little bit because it hasn't been done for quite some time. Early acceptance or whatever. I don't know what it is.
Yes, even though I will not be attending the University of Minnesota, both of us were accepted to the direct admissions, which, what was it, like an 8% acceptance rate?
Yeah. So
And
hats
then
off to those
we're some of the first students at Forest Lake to ever be accepted into that program.
They're either the first or it's been a really long time.
Wow.
Oh, excellent job.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's worth celebration. Thank you for calling that out. Well, the other thing I was going to add is that perhaps Ms. Johnson and I should connect later because my son's got an extensive cardiac history, extensive transplant history here. If some of these classes sound like they might just benefit him.
Yeah.
He's going to be the kid that walks into the class and says, I want nothing to do with this because he's lived medical his entire life.
Right.
But I can see the massive benefit as we start to hand off his care to him. And that's going to happen, he's 16 now, so it's going to happen very soon. And he's going to be in charge of making these decisions. So a little bit of background would be
The
good.
more you know.
Yeah.
Precisely. And, you know, he's making such a good pace in school, he's running out of electives, so this could be a good
Right.
opportunity for him to bring some of the knowledge
Send
he
him our
already.
way.
Well, I always tell nurses especially and doctors that I'm envious of how they got to learn the medical
Right.
profession because they got to learn it from a book, they got to learn it in school. Everything that I learned, everything that my son learned, I learned in ORs and ICUs
Right.
and you know, massive traumatic events where I was forced to learn it very quickly.
Right, you know
And-
all about it and you didn't choose to.
Yeah, and I didn't understand like the cumulative effect it had. Like you guys said, everything ties together. And that's true in the body too. I mean, you think about a kidney transplant, you think, oh, it's just kidney. Well, no, that ties into liver. It ties into
Kidneys run your
to
heart.
cardiac. It ties into, yeah, everything is
Kidney
together. It,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even a headache can, just the interconnectedness of it all. So I could see that being beneficial. So let's
Agreed.
the two of us connect at some
For
point
sure.
here. And congratulations to the two of you, and I'm sure the other two.
Yes.
You're going to have something equally awesome in your future, and hopefully you'll be telling us about it next year.
We're seniors.
We're seniors.
You're seniors too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
seniors.
Well, then
What are
where
you doing?
where are you going then next?
I haven't decided, so
Okay.
currently probably my top choice is St. Thomas.
Okay.
That is if I can get tuition down, but I would say that's my top choice for nursing as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm planning on going straight to work.
Okay.
Nice.
I
Great.
would like to work as an EMT for a year, maybe a couple, and then kind of decide what I want to go do after that. I'm considering paramedic, maybe in firefighting.
All right. Well, that's excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Care.
I made the assumption
Excellent.
that we only had two seniors because
Yes.
the two of you didn't discuss that. But thank you.
Well, congratulations, and
Wow.
I
Best
want
of luck
to,
to
good
all of
luck,
you.
everybody.
We're very proud.
Yes, we are.
So is Tracy.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Thank you for coming in. and
Amazing.
thank you for
Thanks
your
so much
careers
for
in the
your
future.
time.
Thank you.
All right.
Way to go.
Guys, great job.
All right, I feel like we just had positive happenings, but does anybody else have anything else for positive happenings? From Christensen.
Yeah, I attended on February 26th, the International Club hosted the Black History Month event,
Yeah,
which
how
was
was
really
that?
great. It was kind of a, I don't know, sort of a variety show type of thing. There was singing, there was poetry, there was some fashion, there was music. It was really great. And then tonight, some of us are already mentioned, the girls' basketball team is playing right here for a chance to go to state. They started at 7, I don't know.
Wow.
No
We have
update yet.
No update.
Wait for
Dr. Massey
Jim.
is watching his phone. And then finally, Flams, the middle school, is doing the play Frozen.
Frozen.
March 20th and 21st, both at 7 p.m. And March 22nd at 2 p.m. And that's at the high school auditorium. But that'll be,
And that's not on their Facebook page yet, because a few parents have reached out and said, do you know? And I'm like, well, look on their Facebook
I'm not
page.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where I.
So March 20th and 21st.
March 20th and 21st at 7 p.m., March 22nd at 2 p.m.
People are very excited.
And that
about
concludes my report.
Great
Thank
play.
you, Member Christensen. Does anybody else have anything to add? Member Tyson?
Well, I'm glad Jill mentioned the Black History event, because I was out of town and I missed that. It's one of my very favorites. I go every year. That is, as well as the APPI program, is always just the best. Entertainment, history, it's just a wonderful celebration. I went to some hockey as things were winding down for the U12, and then the boys' Ranger game was in the other side, and it's so fun to see the bubble is now an official sheet of ice. And it's got heaters, and people just love that side. It used to be a drippy, slippery slope, but it's done now, and we're just so proud. And then the other side is so nice. And every time I'm over there, people are like, we just love the Forest Lake Hockey Arena. It's one of our favorite arenas to come to. So that's my positive happenings.
Well, I will expand on what Karen Moorhead came up here and spoke about, because it was a very fun, unique opportunity yesterday to go join with the FFA leadership and Karen herself, and I cannot remember that gentleman's name, is Dan. Anyway, a couple people from the FFA, or Agriculture Advisory Committee, to help them interview their young students who are applying to be officer or have officer positions. And it was impressive to see just like we saw here tonight, the level of enthusiasm, because when they find something they really connect with, it drives their want and their education.
purpose, yeah.
Their whole purpose. Yes, thank you. So it was just a really fun experience to do that, and I'm looking forward to the banquet to see who gets those positions and how that all turns out. And I saw you just for a second. I was there the other night too with the Black History Month, and the dancing I think is probably my favorite. And then the 3 girls that got up and sang a cappella was absolutely beautiful. Yeah, it was just such a simple message, but you know, when you do a cappella and then you start staggering everything, and they did a great job with that. So anyway, I think that's about it.
Member Castle.
Well, to piggyback on the hockey situation, the Forest Lake Hockey Association is looking to have some outdoor ice. And with the donated property that is supposed to be used for athletics, they were looking to put some outdoor ice, I believe, north of the arena. And if I remember correctly, they were saying that they could actually pay for some parking lot. So that's something that perhaps each member could perhaps contact that outfit and see where they are with that, and we can come together as a board and perhaps offer some of that donated property for that purpose.
Buildings and grounds would be a good venue for that conversation too.
So who's on the committee would
Yeah.
be able to talk about that, and perhaps invite, I forget the guy's name, but he called me and asked about that, and they're expanding really big, so they need more ice.
Yeah, I have
So this is FLHA.
The Forest Lake Hockey Association.
Okay.
I have a message on my phone to call him back, actually, and I'm on Buildings and Grounds, and I believe Member Christensen is as well. So I can, I'll try to contact him and bring it to the committee and see where things sit. So I'll make a note about that. Okay, does anybody else have anything for positive happenings? Seeing none, that'll bring us to reports. We'll start with workshops and conferences. I believe Member Corcoran had something for us here.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the self-evaluation that I sent out to everybody. I know I just sent it today from Gail Gilman from MSBA. I know I did talk to her, and I said I don't really have a timeline or anything, but I just wanted kind of information on it, the different options and pricing points. So she did send 2 different scenarios. One that was pretty much we just do it ourselves, which I said we kind of want to moderate. We want someone to be running the self-evaluation. And the second option, there's a virtual part or her in person.
Right.
2 to 3 hours. The prices seem very reasonable. It's just a one-time thing. So just read it when you have time. I did say we would reach back out with the timeline when we're ready, because normally you involve a superintendent, but Member Chair was talking about maybe with Dr. Bittman, maybe having that kind of correlate with what we're doing for the superintendent. I don't know. There's just different ways we can look at things. So I think just read it, and we could talk about it later at another time. But I just wanted to make sure we got the information to you guys so you could kind of read it and ask questions later. But yeah, I'm excited. I think working with Gail, she's really a great she's really good media, she brings a lot of good questions. She's got a lot of great experience, and I've been through it before. It's been years, it's been a long time, but I think she would do a great job, so, yeah. And then do we want to talk a little bit about the open board position? Are you going to discuss that, or?
All I know about that at the moment is that the applications are still open, I believe we were targeting
got an
at
update on that.
319.
Oh, he's
Okay.
gonna, okay.
All right,
So we'll let
great.
Dr. Massey
Yeah.
do that then.
Okay, yeah, I thought we were targeting
He'll reach out to
319 for
me.
that.
Okay.
And I'll make a note here to put additional strategic plan discussion for our next meeting on the 19th.
Okay, great.
Then we'll have a chance to review those documents.
Okay.
All right, do we have anything else for workshops and conferences right now? All right, if not, that'll bring us to the American Indian Parent Advisory Committee. Dr. Massey.
Thank you. We have Ms. Weiberg and Mr. Ward, Dr. Ward here tonight to present on their work and leadership with our American Indian Advisory Group. So thank you for being here, and I'll turn it over.
Good evening, Dr. Massey and members of the school board. My name is Brad Ward, and I'm in the Teaching and Learning Department.
And I'm Heidi Weberg, and I'm the chair of APAC this year.
And what we would like to do is just to give you our annual update on the program and highlight some of the successes and events that we have had throughout the year and will continue to have until the end of the school year. So as we look at it, the program goal is to provide equitable, intentional, and targeted educational opportunities to every American Indian student while fostering cultural identity and pride. The purpose is focusing on academic achievement. As someone who's worked with the program for the past 10 years, I can tell you that that has really been an emphasis of growth from MDE, and that's something that is filtering into our program. It's to increase graduation rate, improve the school climate for American Indian students in a culturally appropriate manner. All children are ready for school, all racial and economic achievement gaps between students are closed, and that all students are college and career ready. We hope to emphasize programs like the one that just presented prior to our presentation. You'll see the program services and goals. These come directly from the state plan, and I will speak more to those in a moment. When talking about American Indian education, it's important to note that this is a two-bucket system. The original one was from the federal government as part of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act. Specifically, it's in Title VI. More recently, through the American Indian Education Act of 1988, Minnesota has had one as well. Two differences in terms of how the programs identify and fund is based on self-identification for Minnesota versus tribal affiliation for the federal programs. And each of them have their own separate yet complementary plans. When looking at the state plan, really what they want us to do is to scale up and enhance American Indian education, build these sustainable programs that are culturally and academically tailored, and to assist and target educational experiences that affirm and value American Indian unique cultural identities. The federal program, again, this has grown out of the special trust relationship between the U.S. government and American tribal Indian tribes. There are 11 tribal nations inside of Minnesota, and these goals meet the unique educational and culturally related academic needs of American Indian students. American Indian students gain knowledge and understanding of Native communities, languages, tribal histories, traditions, and cultures, and then finally have the ability to provide culturally appropriate and effective instruction and supports for each of the American Indian students. This has to then translate down to the district, and we have a partnership with the American Indian Parent Advisory Committee. This committee is required by both the federal and the state plan, And what we work collaboratively on is the Title VI program, plan and budget, the State American Indian Education Plan and Budget, the District Achievement and Integration Plan, and then voting on district compliance for Native programs and goals. As mentioned, there are 5 goal areas in the state plan. The first one is to support post-secondary preparation for American Indian pupils. In this one, we initially focused only on graduation rate, but we've added to it now to include a post-secondary plan, noting that that's as important as graduating from high school. You can see our goal rate, or our goal there. Of course, this is one that is measured at the end of the year. Goal Area 2, to support the academic achievement of American Indian pupils. As I mentioned earlier, this is one that's really important to MDE. And so we are in the second year of having these transition meetings for our 5th grade and 8th grade students as they go from elementary and middle school to the next levels up. And then, like other plans, we are focused on literacy with MCA reading and on math with MCA math testing. Goal Area 3 is to make curriculum relevant to the needs and interests, cultural heritage of American Indian pupils. And so this year we are really in a baseline year. Teaching and Learning has been working to make certain that we are meeting the academic standards in a culturally appropriate way. Minnesota has them written into statute and are a part of the standards that we are meeting. And then creating the professional development specific to the needs of American Indian students. Goal Area 4 is to provide positive reinforcement of the self-image of American Indian pupils. So we have had the really successful K-12 honoring ceremony. We're really looking to have more participation from families and students. We also, and Ms. Heidi will be speaking to our family fun nights, and then looking at getting more comments from staff members as a part of some of the the honoring ceremony that takes place for students. Finally, Goal Area 5 is to develop intercultural awareness among pupils, parents, and staff. Again, this is looking at making certain that our staff members are meeting the needs of the students that are inside of their classroom. And so we'll be looking at some specific professional development this spring. And at the time that we had written this plan last May, looking at a particular learning opportunity, our first one didn't quite work out due to circumstances beyond our committee's control, but we do have some more that are on the horizon.
Okay, so we support our students academically and culturally, and we do that by integrating Indigenous culture, language, and community, both inside of our classroom walls and buildings, and then also through our family events. And we've started to branch out outside of our Forest Lake walls. So this summer, one of the ways we actually did our first ever summer rap program, where we took academic and culture, and we had students participate in a program, and everyone who participated in that program either maintained or increased their math and literacy skills on our district assessments. So that was in collaboration with Theo and myself over the course of the summer, and we did a culminating activity at Tamarack, which was really cool. So as Minnesota Department of Education continues to develop their Indigenous Education for All, or IFA, lesson plans, internally we really hope to support our curriculum and teaching and learning partners with our Native American standards work. So you can see one of our 9th grade ELA units braiding sweetgrass. And the image above is Marlena Miles, who's a native artist, and she's a digital artist. And some of her artwork you'll hear we tied to Indigenous Peoples Day, but she brings her artwork to life, literally, like Pokemon Go. And it ties in so brilliantly with braiding sweetgrass that when my son, who's a 9th grader, came home and said, "Mom, I'm reading this book," I said, "Oh my gosh, we could put this 2-minute video clip into that braiding sweetgrass, and it would just bring that novel to life for the students who are reading that book." So that's how we help to use our learning and cultural knowledge to just, interweave with the things that our teaching and learning department is doing. So speaking of Indigenous Peoples Day, Indigenous Peoples Day are lessons that occur across all of our grade levels, early childhood, all the way through 12th grade. So you can see our early childhood kiddos there interacting with authentic materials, doing wild racing activities. And then this year, these are two of the books that we chose at the elementary level, Where We Come From in This Land. And again, we tied in Marlena Miles, who's a native Minnesota artist. And we try to use authentic Minnesota authors whenever possible to just get that authentic voice, authentic materials, and pull in as local as possible to our materials. This is a building process at the elementary level, so we've introduced text the last couple of years, and the hope is that eventually every grade level will have its own unique text that they've already taught, but then these books will land at a specific grade level. And they also tie to standards. So as our APAC, we have intentionally this year been very, very focused on the events that we have brought to our families. So some of our main events have been drum making, and then coming up soon is the sugar bush or maple syrup making. So our drum making event, and I brought one of my children's here, was a 4-hour immersive event in winter that we offered. And we built drums from hide to end product. And it was an intense process, but everyone ended up with their own unique drum, their own unique sound, where they literally cut the hide, dyed it, and then tied it, everything. It was a very cool experience. And then we will be using these drums at our honor ceremony and be playing along with our drummers. And then sugar bush maple syrup making is very important. These two, drums and maple syrup, is very important to Indigenous culture, and so that's one of the reasons why we chose to have intentionality around those two things this year. We were going to have an off-site activity down at Walker Art, but in January there were some things that made it unsafe for us to go down there, so we were not able to do that. And then on May 13th, you all found invitations. We will be having our honor ceremony. And we'll talk more about that one at the end. You, of course, have heard a lot about our beading nights in the past, and we have made some small shifts this year with our beading night, and we aren't keeping it as just a beading night any longer. We have expanded it to becoming an Indigenous community gathering night. And this is important because it really better reflects the heart of and meaning of that night. It's really a time for everybody to come together, whether you want to bead or just sit and talk, have a slice of pizza, have a cup of tea or water, and just sit in community with others. It's a welcoming spot. It's a place where you can feel valued and seen with others. If you want to bead, you can certainly bead. Beading is still there. But we have also grown our skills and the things that we are offering. So you can see that we have just begun to do some ribbon skirt making, and so we're growing and we're expanding in what we're offering. And we really value learning and growing and consider ourselves representatives of the district and the community. And so this is the first time that we have had representatives at NIA, which is the National Indian Education Association Conference. And so Rebecca and myself went to Washington in October to attend that conference. And then in a couple of weeks, there'll be a group of us that are going to the Minnesota Indian Education Association Conference down in Shakopee again. And this is really important for us because we truly value taking on that role of carrying back and sharing knowledge. And we learn a tremendous amount at these conferences. And it really allows us to be able to, at the top of our head, say, this would be an amazing book that ties into the standards that you're talking about. Or this would be an amazing activity for our families to do. And without being able to go to those opportunities, we wouldn't be able to do that as well as we can. So this benefits not only our internal APAC committee, but all of our students within the Forest Lake community. And then also sharing that with teaching and learning and the instructional coaches.
So you've met Theo before. Theo is our American Indian liaison, and MDE calls the position Director of American Indian Education. He's a very gregarious fellow, but that's downplaying the amount of cultural knowledge and just sheer creativity, enthusiasm that he brings to the program. 2 years ago, he was part of our district-wide keynote, which is where the top photo comes from. Theo's primary focus, as suggested by the parent committee, is to work with our students. And so we've been building the program over the last couple of years. This most recent year, he is having groups for Native students at each of the elementary sites twice a month, as he is for the secondary sites, again, twice a month. And this year we added the STEP transition program as another place for him to make contact with an American Indian student who is there. The focus this year is primarily on water in both Ojibwe and Dakota cultures. So he teaches the culture as well as teaches language at the same time.
So our honoring ceremony is occurring on May 13th, and this year we're taking a little bit of a different twist to it because we thought, why invite a keynote speaker in when we can showcase the learning that has occurred in our students over the course of the year, and we can tie in the amazing drum experience. So this year, that's what you're going to see when you come to the honor ceremony. The honoring ceremony is a time for us to acknowledge the academic successes of our students and also to celebrate our graduates with traditional blankets and wrap them and give them their stoles. And then they also receive other additional traditional Indigenous gifts from us. So it is a very important time, and we also really, really believe that it's important to give literature and books where they can see themselves as main characters and promote that culture. So those are some things that occur at our honor ceremony. So we hope that you can attend. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Does
you.
anybody have any questions? Member Castle?
So, when the sugar bush was up there, you mentioned maple syrup.
Yeah.
So I know there's a lot of foods that weren't discovered until the New World was discovered. Potatoes, tomatoes, these things. So is maple syrup one of these items? So was the indigenous people making maple syrup before the settlers
Yep, they were tapping
started making
trees.
flapjacks and stuff?
Yep.
Wow, very interesting.
I looked it up once because we do maple syrup, and I don't know if it was some folk tale or what, but it said the Native American Indians, something about the woman saw the tree crying because somebody had stuck something in it, and that's sort of how, I don't know. I don't know, whatever, but anyways, it's delicious. and
That's
I-
actually, Theo has been working on that story, a variation of that story with the student groups this month.
Well, I
And
want.
will be doing it at
Yeah,
Tamarack.
he'll be coming, yeah, so we're gonna partner with Tamarack. Theo is gonna share the cultural aspect, and Tamarack is gonna share, like, the science aspect.
Oh.
So that's one of the great things, and when we were there in the summer, that Tamarack worked with us as well,
Yeah.
and they've been fantastic with
Yes.
allowing us to bring in the cultural pieces, and they bring in the science pieces, and it's been fantastic. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
I can't wait to get more in-depth on that story, what it
Yeah.
is.
Member Tyson?
Well, that was a great report. Thank you for that. And I love the APAC logo, and I'm so appreciative of the bag that I was given when it was brand new, and when I use it and take it places, people always ask me what that is. It's very beautiful. But I really like how we still, I mean, they're tied to the standards, but we still have the books available for students, because it is so important that they see themselves in the materials and the literature that they read, correct?
Correct.
And
Yep.
so we have those available at all levels,
Yep.
district-wide. Oh, okay. And then I was curious about Theo, because he's so valuable to our district and what he can offer. And how many years has he been here now?
This is his third.
It's his third. Okay. Well, I was so glad to hear that he's still here, and it sounds like he's broadening his role and reaching out to everybody kind of district-wide, right? And he's also at the high school.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then you brought up beading, and I was like, oh, you can't get rid of beading.
No, it hasn't gone anywhere. We're just including
So
other things as
popular.
well.
Yeah. I
In
did-
fact, it's happening right now.
Yeah.
Right now?
Yes.
It's so fun. And I love going to that honoring ceremony and just seeing the families and meeting the parents and the siblings and everybody. And I did see pictures of the drum making.
Yeah.
It looked very fun, but challenging as well, stretching and.
Yes. It took some strength.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that
Yeah,
great
thank you.
report.
Member Christensen?
Well, I just wanted to mention, you should also mention the other hat that you wear. This is, you're also a district staff member.
Yeah, I'm an instructional coach.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is important too.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say to Member Tyson's point too, I've been able to go to the honoring ceremony, and it's really powerful with the blankets being presented, and I love that you give out books and call up the younger students, so it's really kind of for everyone, the whole family is involved, and the little kids, like, they really get dressed up, and that's a big deal, and they go up on the stage too to get their book, and it's really wonderful.
All right, any other?
Well, I was just
Member
curious how many, like, I know it's an amazing program, and I think it's so valuable for those students to keep with their culture and just to connect with people like them, to have that opportunity. So how many family, I know things are pretty well attended. How many students in our district? And I don't really know the numbers.
By the state definition, we have 153.
153. And so a lot of these events they're very well attended, all different age groups normally, or
Yeah.
how do these?
Yeah, it just depends on the event and
Yeah.
the timing of the event and, yeah, who can make it and, yep.
Wonderful,
So-
but a lot of families are very involved in it, it sounds
Yep.
like.
Yeah.
It's just I'm just so thankful we have this option to have these wonderful programs for our students, so. But thank you. Thanks for all your time and energy that goes into it. It's really appreciated.
All right, yeah, I want to kind of piggyback a little bit on the mentioning of Theo. I think Theo's been incredible. I think we could all agree here that, gosh, he's touched a lot of lives in this district, and he's been really instrumental in the success of a lot of our students. So
Yeah.
super happy to hear that he's still with
Oh,
us.
he's-
Yes.
for
I
sure
was
so.
looking at the room this evening going,
Yeah, see here?
somebody's missing. Like, where might he be? So I was very excited to hear that he's still here. But I was in another board meeting in our intermediate school district last night, 916, and they actually met the state threshold this year to have the requirement for an AI pack, and they were unable to get one established. So if you're interested in kind of extending that reach a little bit, maybe reaching out to 916 would be a bad idea, but I was disappointed to hear that at the board meeting, that they were unable to get it going, but 916 is kind of an interesting district because it's a hodgepodge of, 13 member districts. So what they experienced was that the groups, they wanted to stay local to their home district or their member district, which is part of the reason they were unable to get one established. But as I was hearing the report, I was thinking, gosh, Forest Lake, we've got the best one in the state. The events that you guys put on and how well they're attended and the value that our students get, it just seemed like kind of such a loss to 916 that they were unable to get that established because of the value I think this group brings the district here. So I guess that's my roundabout way of saying, great job. Keep it up, incredibly valuable service. And I'm really glad you guys could come here and present again tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's really great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well done. Thank you.
Good. Thanks for waiting, too.
All right, that brings us to the City of Forest Lake. Member Christensen or Member Tyson?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh.
I just have one thing to add.
At the latest meeting on February 23rd, just a few kind of highlights. They have hired 5 or offered conditional offers to 5 new police officers, which is really exciting. And they're hoping that they're all on board by the 4th of July. They're being staggered starts for training. The City of Forest Lake and the city administrator, Mark Statz, have parted ways amicably. So the Jolene, I'm blanking on her last name, is taking over in the interim. And then our own Luke Hanegraaff, who graduated from Forest Lake, is going to be the new police chief, taking over from Chief Peterson, who's retiring in April. So that's super exciting. He will take over in April, as I said. And they also mentioned, again, which Chrissy Rumberg-Eide talked to us about, I think at the last meeting, the land and facility study, which we're doing jointly with the city of Forest Lake. So they talked about that a little bit. And I think that concludes my report.
All right, Member Tyson.
So the only thing I want to add is last week they had their Parks and Trails open house, so people could come in and see the renderings and put sticky notes up with their ideas. They had a great response prior to that with their survey. They had around 450 responses, so that's all I was going to add, that, a lot of people come, our families come to Forest Lake for the Parks and Trails, so it's glad to hear that the city's getting input in that. That concludes my report.
Sure, thank you. We'll go right back to Member Christensen for community education.
Yeah, we met just last Monday, I think, February 23rd, and we had a presentation about the youth and adult programs by Lori Drolson, and she talked about a lot of really awesome stuff. And the main things I guess I kind of want to highlight is the fishing program is over there now with the changes to the clubs, and super excited. They're going to have to max it out at 100 kids this year because people are just really super excited about it. There's a new part-time position, which I thought was really interesting for planning sort of senior boomer type events. So that's exciting, some new opportunities there. There's some touring partnerships with community ed over at Centennial. There's a bus tour to Nashville and Door County and some of those other things. Also, there's a new disc golf course. Disc golf course, thank you. And it's around over there, over by the Ed Center. There's 9 permanent baskets installed, and apparently disc golf is huge. It's a big deal. There's like an app on your phone, and you can find these disc golf courses, so that's super exciting. Marching band is really strong again, largest numbers ever, 144 kids between the band and the flag corps. And then also a special shout out to Mr. Matthiasen, our tuba teacher. He was recognized, thank you, from Yamaha Music. He's a 40 under 40 outstanding music teachers. So that is
pretty awesome.
Super exciting. Yeah. And so many other things, but those are kind of the highlights. So.
Thank you, Member Christensen.
That's awesome.
We'll
Yeah.
bounce right back to Member Tyson for
Yes,
MSBA.
I
Or
missed-
unless you have a question.
I just had one question, Member Christensen. What was limited to 100?
The fishing team.
Oh.
Yep,
okay,
it's
thank
super
you.
popular.
I
They had
thought you said
54
Space
kids
Camp.
registered already, returning.
Okay.
54 kids returning, and so they were gonna max it out at 100, because that's 7 through 12.
Okay,
Wow, that's
7.
exciting.
What is the limiting factor?
Must be just the boats.
Well, probably the boats and
people.
chaperones and,
Yeah.
I mean, because it's
Just
fast
capacity
fishing.
to
Leadership,
So
yeah,
they go
support
all-
it.
So,
They have
so
to-
they could use some more equipment and
More
some more
boats.
personnel.
I'd imagine, I don't know
Yeah.
that for sure, but,
Yep.
yeah,
Do you know?
I don't
We could
know.
check with AJ Hansen
Yeah.
on how to
Yeah.
expand along with the community education staff.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity for kids to get out on the boats and fish.
Yeah, that would be good. Having it in community
Yeah.
ed gives us a lot of growth potential to that.
Yes, indeed.
Because we can actually drive investment into that group now through
For sure.
community
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, not
excellent.
the need.
ed. We do have a lot
We
of
have plenty of
water.
space here. A lot of water.
The water is not the limiting factor,
No,
right, Member
it's
Tyson? Oh, did you want to pivot to MSBA?
Sure. So we have our meeting on Sunday, which precedes the MSBA MASA Day at the Capitol. So we know that it's our day to advocate for our students and their education down and talk directly with legislators. The morning starts out with a panel discussion. New this year, we start at the Science History Center, and instead of being at the hotel, it's just going to be bigger. And then there's buses that'll take you over in the afternoon to have your visits, which are scheduled by a company now. And there's a lot of instructions. There was a know before you go. I know that our board is all on spring break, and I know that Member Antonsen was trying to go, so I think there are other districts that'll be on spring break, but there's still legislators to see. I know Superintendent Massey was down there last week with SAF, and was AMSD there as well?
A couple of the member districts were,
Were
yes.
they? Okay. So anyway, it's so important to advocate for our students and for our legislators to hear our stories, because we know that school districts, there's 336 in the state of Minnesota, and they're all so different and have different needs. And so top of mind always for us is our transportation dollars, and getting that whittled down. It's still kind of a high number. So we will, at our meeting, be reviewing the executive director's performance review, and then having a financial update, as well as a bunch of other things on there. But I wanted to bring the platform like I said I would, and I'm sure the superintendent, he gave us a very robust and thorough report in his day. He'll probably touch on that. But the 2026 MSBA legislative platform, some of the top priorities, I just want to highlight a few. One is a special education cost subsidy, which we know we have to pay out of pocket, and we have been. And it had ballooned and ballooned. So we want to protect the existing special education funding and ensure the Blue Ribbon Education Task Force $200 million reduction target does not reverse. So we want to avoid having that reversed. Also, stable and predictable funding. We want to protect the basic education formula inflationary index. That's really important, because that's going to give us a little bit more. And we know that over the years, it's gotten so behind on addressing inflation that that's really critical to hold that inflationary index. And then also hold districts harmless in the compensatory revenue changes, while improving how students in need are identified and served. And then also allow school boards by board resolution to transfer balanced surpluses of non-federal funds between district operating accounts to meet financial needs without the additional aid of a levy authority. So there's several other things on here: PSEO and concurrent enrollment reform, instruction and assessment, transition from MCAs to the nationally recognized assessment act like the ACT. So I'm going to pass this around, and you can just pass it back to me when you're done. And that's the work that kind of comes together with the delegate assembly and all the board members that are on that come together and make these decisions in the platform. So I'm sure Superintendent has a report on the legislation as well. So that concludes my report.
And we can get this on their website.
Yes, and on the website, correct.
All right. Thank you, Member Tyson. That will bring us to the superintendent report. Dr. Massey.
Thank you. I would like to begin with just recognition and tying back to the presentation we had on the health occupation group that our students presented on. Joe Graft and Paul Kendrick deserve just a ton of credit for the initiation of that program. We wouldn't have it without the two of them. And on the healthcare side, our partnership with Fairview Medical, Betty Hestekin in the early days, again, we wouldn't have the program without those folks and their visionary leadership. So we're indebted to them for the program that we have. Member Christensen and Member Antonsen touched on the International Club Black History Month celebration that we had last week, along with the American Indian presentation that we had tonight, the Asian Hmong program that we'll have later this spring. You think about the cultural opportunities we have through the international activity that we have, the opportunity to create these connections for students. At the Black History Month celebration, I won't repeat all of the different events, but it concluded with the group of close to 35 or 40 kids honoring the seniors who were graduating with a very touching letter that they had written to the graduates. And it just speaks to the affinity that those kids develop through those connections. And that happens in many of our different clubs, and the International Club is now the umbrella through which these programs are able to continue. So a super exciting night, and it just speaks to the power of connection, the sense of belonging those things create, and when you couple that with the academic richness that we have and the opportunities we have for kids. We spoke earlier tonight about when kids find their connection and their purpose, you have an engaged kid. And we talk about the things we do to address attendance, graduation rates. Nothing drives attendance and graduation rates more than kids who have purpose. Kids who have a reason to come to school. And these clubs, these experiences, the academic programs that we saw with the students here tonight, you don't have to get those kids out of bed in the morning to come to school. They spring out of bed and they come to school because they find meaning in what they do. Circling to the legislative work, I was down at the Capitol last week. I'll continue to make visits down there and interact with our legislators and others. In addition to the items Member Tyson spoke to, I would highlight the work around compensatory aid. The hold harmless provision on Comp Ed expires this year. We stand to lose close to $500,000 in Comp Ed dollars if they don't extend the hold harmless. Essentially what that means is we are generating compensatory aid education based on free reduced price lunch or Medicaid eligible direct certification. So it's a combination of families who fill out the form or the direct certification. And it should be the combination of those. We're not double counting kids, we're simply capturing all eligible kids. And the state is looking to take away the hold harmless provision, thereby having districts create eligibility by either direct certification or paper application. It's just simply unfair. Summer school, I don't think it's too early to be speaking to and promoting summer school. We'll be using Forest View Elementary and grades 5 through 12 at the community school. We will begin on Monday, June 15th and running all the way through July 24th with taking the week of 4th of July off, allowing families to get a break and travel if that's what they want to do. With respect to the board vacancy that we spoke about earlier, application materials are available on the district website. Applications must be received in the district office by 4 p.m. on March 16th. Any application received after 4 p.m. on the 16th will not be accepted. Application review by the school board will take place tentatively on March 19th. And currently we have no applicants. It's early, but hopefully this is a nudge to folks in the community who are contemplating this as an opportunity to get their application in for the board. And lastly, the Lakes Area Expo is scheduled for the 21st of March at Maranatha Church. So That begins at 9 a.m. and extends through 1:30 p.m. And that concludes my report.
Can I ask a question about the summer school thing, just for clarification
Sure.
here? You said grades 5 through 12 will be at the community school. When it's summer school, does grade 5 mean,
Still elementary.
no, but like, is it when they're gonna be grade 5 next year? That's the grade 5 through 12?
Nope, it would be current fifth graders rising to
Okay.
sixth grade.
Okay, so
Yes.
just wanted to clarify.
Yes, good question.
All right.
All right, Member Tyson.
I have one quick question for the superintendent, going back to the legislative information you gave. Now, I forgot to mention that there is a surplus.
There is a surplus, and
What did you
the
hear
February
about?
forecast increased by another 150 million or so. It's at
That's- okay.
close to $400 million surplus that they're working with. But in the out years, they're still projecting a deficit. So
Okay.
this is not creating a surplus that they can expend into the future. I think it would be unwise to expect a supplemental budget bill this year
Right.
allocating more ongoing expenditures to the budget. So I just don't think that's realistic. We continue to lobby for and advocate for transportation sparsity. But again, that would be new ongoing monies, and I'm just not optimistic that we're going to see that this year.
Right, and I did hear that some of that surplus money perhaps will go to gun control, given the Annunciation Church.
School safety measures.
School
things
safety
like that.
measures, and then also towards the impacts of the ICE on the economic businesses.
Small businesses and so
small
on,
businesses
yeah.
and stuff.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, interesting.
All right, thank you. That brings us to approval of the consent agenda. Does any member have anything they'd like to pull from the consent agenda? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve 8.1 through 8.5.
So move.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that motion carries. That brings us to action items, but I would like to propose a 10-minute recess, if
Thank
there's
you.
no objection.
Thank you.
How about
No-
5?
Sure.
10 minutes.
5-minute recess?
Sure.
I'd be good with 5.
Five's fine.
Okay, we are in recess for 5 minutes.
It's going to be a long night.
We don't
We got a stack of
I now call the Thursday, March 5th, regular school board meeting for Forest Lake Area Schools back to order. Member Clerk, will you please take the roll call of attendance?
Sure. Member Rebbeline.
Here.
Member Christensen.
Here.
Member Antonsen is here. Member Corcoran.
Here.
Member Tyson.
Here.
And Member Castle.
Here.
Everybody's here.
All right, that brings us immediately back to item 9.1, donations. Member Castle.
Okay. There is $4,245 from the Forest Lake Theater Arts Booster Club. Designated purpose is a Forest Lake Area High School Fall 2025 theater production of Anastasia. $3,447.01 to Forest Lake from Forest Lake Gymnastics Booster Club to the FLAS 25 to 26 gymnastics coach Casey Nelson. $300 from Hugo American Legion Post 620 to the FFA chapter student organization account. $205 from Anonymous to the Rangers Helping Rangers. $200 from Kramer Mechanical to the ice skating show. $30 from Amber Kasprowitz. Pardon me if I mispronounce your name. To the Lino Lakes Elementary general use. 6 dozen bagels from Big Apple Bagels to the Transportation Department December in-service meeting at $220 value. Medical supplies from Honor Coffee Minneapolis, Forest Lake Area High School general use. 10 formal dresses from Anonymous to the Step Community Closet prom dresses. $2,500 from Hallberg Family Foundation for the Ranger Space Camp. And the rest of these are all for the Ranger Space Camp. $1,000 from Maury's Forest Lake Chevrolet, $500 from Brad Peterson Construction, $500 from Kimmy Beauty, $500 from Columbus Lions Club, $500 from iSmile Orthodontics, $300 from Stoner Insurance Agency, $300 from Bowden Sear PLLC, $250 from Mary McGraw, $100 from Roberta Anderson, $100 from Lisa Kane, and $25 from Sharon Peller, totaling $15,002.01. And vote of adoption of the resolution. I would recommend that we accept this and with great appreciation.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just so grateful.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
just amazing.
That Ranger Space Camp is still being funded so wonderfully
Yes.
for those kids, because it's such it's such an amazing opportunity for those students, isn't it? I'm so
And
proud
I'm
of
so
that.
glad we have our community closet, because I
Mhm.
hear so many good things that is really being utilized.
It's true. Very generous community.
All right, any additional discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that motion carries. That does bring us to Forest Lake Area School staff retirement notices. Member Castle.
Okay, submitted retirements. Lana Crawford, special education teacher at Forest View Elementary, effective 6/5/26, following 31 years of service. Mary Davis, cook manager at Linwood Elementary, effective 3/13/26, following 23 years of service. Carla Dietz, long
Long
hour cook.
Yeah.
Oh, long hour.
Helper.
Typo.
Yeah,
Helper at
Interesting.
Scandia Elementary, effective 6/4/26, following 31 years of service.
Wow.
Kathy Lamberta, long hour cook helper at Linwood Elementary, effective 3/13, following 10 years of service. Administration recommends the approval of the staff retirements with great appreciation.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I did a little quick math here. It was nearly 100 years of service here. I think it came to 95 at just a quick glance. Incredible. Very thankful on behalf of the district to all those staff members, and
Wow.
they will be missed.
Those are not easy jobs either.
They're not.
No.
That is an incredible dedication to our system and the jobs that they did. I hope they have a wonderful retirement.
95 years from just four folks.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
It is
And
wild.
It just makes you realize how important each position at our
Yeah,
schools are, from our bus
absolutely.
drivers all the way through the cooks. Every position is critical to run a great school district like we have. So to have them be there that many years, that's incredible. That's a long time. But yeah, I hope they have a great retirement. They've earned it.
For sure.
Yes.
And we've
Well
got some
said.
well-experienced, deeply experienced people leaving those, cook, kitchen positions. So, anyway,
Yeah, the students know the
Uh-huh.
helpers well.
yes.
They do.
That brings
All
up
right.
a question, do we have a passing on the,
Let's hope so.
passing on the knowledge
Let's hope so.
to the newbies?
Transitional services.
Transitional,
Yeah. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that motion carries as well. That will bring us to action item 9.3, approve 2026-2027 school board meeting calendar. Dr. Massey.
Yeah, you see the dates there in front of you. I highlighted on my notes here a few dates that are different than our typical first Thursday and third Thursday of the month. That would be the first one on the list there, June 25th. That meeting moves, is the July 4th, first meeting in July moved into June there to not conflict with the 4th of July. October 22nd accommodates MEA. And June 24th, same at the end of the 26-27 school year, moving that meeting to not conflict with the 4th of July. With those, administration would recommend your approval.
Move to approve?
Yeah.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion, Member Christensen?
Sorry, I just had a question. November 13th is a Friday.
Yeah, I think it's a typo.
But it says canvas, what does that mean? Is that,
Is it for the election?
then what, yeah, I'm wondering if
That
that's.
would be,
Should be the 12th?
should be the July? Should be the 12th?
Yeah.
It should be the 12th, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I
Okay,
thought.
that's
I was
good.
looking at
Good
that
catch.
same thing.
All
I
right,
was
that-
looking, that didn't make sense.
Excellent catch, Member Christensen. So
Very
without
good.
objection, we will amend this list to move the November 13th meeting to November 12th. All right, seeing no objection, that amendment will pass. Brings us back to the main motion. Any additional discussion on the proposed dates? All right, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Brings us to 9.4, accept the 2024-2025 federal single audit. Dr. Massey.
Yeah, the board approved the main audit previously, so this is the supplemental audit required regarding the federal funds. The district auditing firm, L.B. Carlson, has concluded work on the 24-25 federal single audit. The auditors reviewed the schedule of expenditures for federal awards and completed the single audit on nutrition services. The auditors issued an unmodified opinion, which is obviously the desired opinion, and there were no findings in the financial reports or internal controls. Jackie, the lead auditor, addressed the federal audit in her presentation to the school board in December, and Director Renberg-Eide presented the audit to the Finance Committee in February and reported on the audit during the committee report at the board meeting the same evening. With that, administration would recommend your approval of the federal audit.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah,
Member Corcoran.
no, just, I know that it was a timing issue, right? With the timing of, why it was separate. I remember
Yeah,
she
it's a
explained
matter
it
of
at the
getting all
time.
of
Yeah,
the
you could-
different
Yeah.
reports together and the
Yeah.
expenditures.
Yeah.
um,
So it's just
and-
due to a time, but in the future, it's probably not going to happen again where it's going to be a separate
It
audit?
shouldn't,
or-
it depends on the lineup of closing out those accounts. and-
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. But then we had a clean audit again, and
Yep.
Jackie came and explained that again at the Finance Committee.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh,
She's
okay.
just an amazing resource for us, and she's very knowledgeable, been with our district, our account for many years, and I feel like we have a really good working relationship with this firm, and I think it's really good that she continues to come in person and really walk us through the audit. So I really do appreciate her time, and another clean audit, so.
Very good.
Finance
Yeah,
team
that's
should be very
wonderful.
proud as
Yeah,
always.
for sure.
Yeah, I thought the delay had to do with the state or something. like
Yeah,
that.
it's something beyond our
The
control.
state reporting,
Yeah.
revenues that pass through the feds, through the state, and, yeah.
Well, all right, any other discussion on this? All right, seeing none, Member Clerk, will you please take a roll call?
Sure. Okay. Accepting the federal audit. Member Christensen.
Aye.
Member Rebeline.
Aye.
Member Antonsen votes aye. Member Tyson.
Aye.
Member Castle.
Aye.
And Member Corcoran.
Aye.
And the ayes have it.
All right, brings us to 9.5, to ratify the 2025 to 2027 Forest Lake Education Association Employment Agreement. Dr. Massey.
I'm very pleased to present to you tonight the 2025-2027 Forest Lake Education Association employment agreement. I would like to thank the FLE negotiations team, two of whom are in the room tonight, Sally Ann Reynolds and Rich Elliott, along with Mary Egebrotten, Shalana Weiland, AJ Hansen, and Andy Stoike, and the district team, including Donna Friedman, Chrissy Rembergheide, and Corey McKinnon. Throughout the process, we had amicable and productive discussions around language items and wages. Through a mediation session, we were able to work through final items and financial items and come to a tentative agreement on February 11th. I'm proud of the work that we were able to do on this contract. Throughout my time negotiating contracts with FLE, we've largely kept pace with comparable districts, and with this contract, we're able to make some, albeit small, some progress in closing the gap with the same comparable districts. Before I talk through the significant updates and changes to the contract, I would like to personally thank every single teacher and educator in our district for their commitment to their work and the passion they bring to this district. We are truly blessed to have such a talented group of educators serving our students, families, and the community. So what I will do is just kind of talk through a couple of most noteworthy changes to the contract. And I'll highlight just a couple of the more significant items that were approved in the contract. Most notably would be the wage increases you'll see on the wage tables. And you'll see that with those wage increases, those fit within the parameters provided by the school board, and those are equally fairly balanced across the schedules in each of the 2 years. You'll see also similar wage increases on the ECFE and the step schedules that are provided there. We also were able to add another longevity step at the 30th year. We talk about longevity and the retirements that you see here. So this recognizes the longevity and commitment over time to the district, and $1,000 on that step. We increased the stipend for deans at the high school, tying that to 15% of the first step on the wage scale, and a 5% increase, or tying the added stipend for middle school counselors at 5%, again to the first step on the salary schedule. So you'll see the other changes that I've highlighted previously, but those are clearly the most significant changes. We also added $150 in the second year to the district contribution to family medical, trying to keep pace with the increasing cost to family medical. So with those changes and just an enormous amount of gratitude for the work that our educators do, administration would recommend your approval.
I will move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Member Corcoran.
No, I just want to echo what Dr. Massey said. Amazing working with our staff, and that we finally can kind of make a little headway with a little bit of an increase. Always wish we could do more as our district, but we do appreciate every single staff member, and I'm really glad that this, I know it takes a long time. It's a lot of dedicated time to go through everything, and I'm glad we came to a consensus, and that we move forward, and everybody seems really happy with it. So thank you for all the time and effort you guys put into negotiating and working on behalf of the rest of the staff, and we really appreciate you guys, and so happy that you're all on board and moving forward. So thankful.
Thank you, Member Cordray. Member Tyson?
Well, and just to echo, our teachers are so deserving. Every last one of them, they work hard. I noticed little things that are still in the contract that were made that are still in there, and I'm so thankful, like the payback for the sick days, for them being compensated for any hours outside their day when they have to attend meetings. And, you know, to talk about that sick day back pay, it's like we know that teachers feel crummy and they come to work because they want to be with their students. They want to be there. They're committed. They're dedicated. It's just, I'm just so glad they can do that because it's just, they deserve to have that be paid back. And I also like that we have the matching 403B component. And, you know, I noticed that there's an MOU for letters, and then that goes away when everyone has kind of completed their letters.
Yeah, there is
Correct?
a time stamp on the
Is there?
MOU.
Okay.
It actually, I was just talking to Director Friedman earlier today that actually in the MOU is set to expire, but we'll certainly be continuing with the same concept as we have new educators we hire,
Right.
and they're going to be required to go through the same training.
Yeah.
So we'll continue with the same compensation concept for that additional professional development.
Yeah, and that just shows the dedication that there's always new things coming out, the Read Act, Science of Reading. You know, teachers just have so much thrown at them and put on their plates, and they're already juggling plates. And so we're just so fortunate that we have the longevity in our district that we have, and that we kind of are catching up, even though we could do better if we had a bigger pot of money to work with. But thank you guys for committing to doing the hard work of the negotiations.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
that's it for me.
Anybody else? I'd like to jump in. I got a couple of statements I want to make here. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Elliott and his team. I heard that the vote for approval was overwhelming this year, and I think that really speaks to both the dedication that the district has to the staff and the job that your team has done in negotiating that contract. We came to a place that I think we're all happy with. Obviously, it's easy to say we wish we could do more, but we do have limited resources. We need to work within them, and I feel that we came to a really, really fair proposal. Another thing I'd like to thank the union leadership for, especially, is the MOU at the end of this contract of starting the collective bargaining process earlier. This is one of those, I feel like it's kind of a small detail, but it's one of those details that's often overlooked in the public of why are our teachers working on an expired contract. You hear that a lot, or you hear discussions of potential strike. And that's the last thing any of us want. It's the last thing our teachers want to do. It's the last thing our board wants to endure. It's the last thing any of our staff want to go through. And it's definitely the last thing we want to have our students experience. So to have this MOU that we're going to start negotiations actually on no later than September 30th of 2026, which is right around the corner, and I'm sure that was a point of contention in the discussions was just when we got done, we're going to take a deep breath, and we're going to get started before we can even exhale. So I appreciate the commitment in turning that over so quickly. And hopefully it's a one-time thing, and we'll get the contract approved even earlier next time around, and then that cycle will break. I did share that at my 916 with other member districts, that it was something that I'd asked for our union to do, and the other member districts really liked that idea, so I could see it coming forward in maybe some of our other area contracts. So I appreciate the leadership on that MOU, and thank the union for that. Another thing that I kind of dug into, and this was more for an education of the community. is that a lot of the community members don't understand how this process works and how teacher compensation works. And when we start talking about the salary schedule and steps and lanes and stuff, it gets confusing. So I did want to break down and highlight some of the progress that we've made and just how hard we're working to compensate our teachers as fairly as we possibly can. So when I started on the board, I went back to that last contract to see if I had started as a teacher instead of a board member, how would have my compensation changed? And I looked across the schedule because it's a very complex question to answer. But in my time here on the board through these first 2 contracts that I've been part of, we have an average compensation for our teacher, an average increase of approximately 5.5% by the time you figure in each step that they've taken and the contracts that we've, the increases to the schedule. And again, that goes to Mr. Elliott's and his team's excellent job of negotiating fair contracts for our teachers. And I think when I look across at least the cohort districts in 916, we're on the top of that bell curve. So we're quickly catching up to other area schools, and I think that's really important that we keep our high-quality staff here. And then another thought exercise I ran through is that we don't lock our staff into a lane on that salary schedule. We allow them to move through the salary schedule if they go and they seek higher education or additional credits. And I know our administration staff is very supportive of that. So in my personal situation, just in the time I've been on the board, I've earned a bachelor's degree, several master's degrees, and I was kind of curious, how would have my compensation changed as a teacher? And I found that just over the past 3 years, I would have seen approximately a 44% increase to my personal salary because of the professional development I've done. And that's not a direct correlation, one-to-one, but it just shows an example of if our teachers are willing to continue to go out and enrich their skills and drive their own personal development, that there are other ways to move on that salary structure. And that brings a tremendous value to the district as well by having higher educated educators working with our students. It drives a lot of value, and I'm really beginning to understand how important and how special that salary schedule is, and that disclosure to the teachers so they can understand not only how do they move through that structure, but I'm excited that that structure actually helps them become better educators as well. So we're getting a lot more value, not only for the district and our students, but for the teachers as well. And then the last comparison that I ran was how does our average increase of roughly 5.5%, how does that compare with the demographics in our community? And that's a really hard answer to gather because you're basing it off of like reported data. So it actually comes out to somewhere between 0.7% and 3.3% across the community. And whether you look on the low end or the high end of that, it shows that, again, our bargaining team is doing an excellent job on making sure that our teachers are fairly compensated for the work and that they're keeping up with the community around us. So again, I want to give credit to them. And, then at the same time, it's what I think surprised me the most is when I first came in to the school board, our unrestricted general fund balance was just over $300,000 at the end of that fiscal year. And we were really working hard on how do we continue to drive compensation for our staff members while risking kind of a bankruptcy situation because at that time our medical, that balance was negative a few million if I'm remembering correctly. I don't have that number on me right now. But now we've taken that general fund balance and we've moved it almost up to $8 million. And we've done that through driving efficiencies and really streamlining some of the processes and the programs. We haven't done that through cutting programs. So we've been able to outpace the average median income or income increase for our staff members as compared to the community while still growing our general fund. And that better protects our educators even more should there be some sort of a funding gap. We'll have the funds to make payroll and take care of our people. So I'm super excited about that. I'm super proud of that. And the more I read into the actual details and the red line on this contract, the happier I am with it. So I can't thank the bargaining team enough. I can't thank administration's work for this enough. I know it was a difficult road to get there, as it always is. And I thank both teams for going right back to the table just in a few months and starting it all over. So that was why I made such an enthusiastic motion to support it. And if nobody else has any comments, or Member
I just have
Tyson?
a couple based
Yeah.
on what your comments just were. I mean,
Sure.
I think going back to like Member Corcoran's days, we were broke. Took us 12 years to pass a levy and a bond, and we were broke. And our teachers worked, and we were like, okay, what can the percent be? What can we do? So those were the stressful years, and that was when our transportation funding wasn't even shifted or looked at. And so now we've got that extra money because we've gotten our transportation sparsity down to 500,000 instead of $1 million, because that comes out of our general fund that we can use to pay our teachers and our staff. So we have to look at all of those things over the years. And I mean, I think some of the points you made were valid, but I think there's so much more history that goes into how we got to where we can be now, and we just have to keep up that good work.
For sure.
So that we can pay our teachers what they deserve. Does that make sense?
All right, Member Castle?
I would propose that it's not extra money, it's money we should be getting all along.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep pushing that at the legislature.
And it'll be extra when they pay more than what our transportation needs are.
Yes. You shouldn't
Don't
have
hold
to
your breath
go
on
broke
this.
driving your kids to school, your students to school, like Patty Anderson said on the floor. Right, so, and then the cross subsidy is expensive for our district too, paying that out, so. But anyway,
Any other discussion
I digress.
on the contract?
No, I'm just
If not,
happy.
Member Clerk, will you please take the roll call?
Sure. Okay, Member Antonsen votes aye. Member Rebbeline?
Aye.
Member Corcoran?
Aye.
Member Castle?
Aye.
Member Tyson?
Aye.
Member Christensen?
Aye.
And the ayes have it.
All right, that brings us
Yay.
to 9.6, the 2027-2029 Forest Lake Area School Achievement and Integration Plan. Dr. Massey.
Thank you. Tonight, I will not review all of the specific elements of the plan, as we provided a detailed presentation during the February board meeting. You've had the full plan and the budget to review, and the plan has been available for the public during this past month. To begin, I would like to highlight several key points pertaining to the plan. The plan provides a focus on integrating all students into the school district and programs. It builds bridges with families who have not traditionally connected with us. It provides a practice of curiosity regarding our data trends and attempt to erode predictable discrepancies in achievement in our schools. And it welcomes all students into what our plan provides in providing new opportunities and growth. Since the first plan in 2018, the plan has been driven by several key goals and strategies. These include to build relationships and systems that facilitate all families' ability to increase their students' school engagement and academic success, to break through demographic trends associated with participation in rigorous courses and co-curricular activities, to increase the number of fifth grade students trained in leadership skills, to ensure all Forest Lake area students, school students, have access to effective educators trained in connecting with and teaching any student, to close achievement gaps that exist, and to increase student feedback that their school environment reflects who they are. There are three defined required goals. First, to reduce disparities in academic achievement. Second, to increase access to effective and diverse teachers. And third, to increase racial and economic integration, under which we have six specific goals that are defined in the plan. And those goals have been highlighted and detailed. And I would just, they're long goals, so I'm not going to read them. They, again, have been available to the public. They've been in your hand, board members, for the better part of a month. But there are 6 plans with very detailed strategies, key indicators of progress that will track our performance over time. We might pause and ask, since the last plan was modified last year at this time, what success have we had with the plan? And I would stress that the goals that we put in place this time last year were for this current year. We're in just beginning the month of March. We don't have the full year data in front of us. So we don't have those metrics that we can reshape and modify the plan, but I will tell you that we're seeing very positive success with respect to student achievement across the board with our various in-district measures, FastBridge in particular. When we look at graduation rates, particularly with the group defined in this plan, first of all, we see an increase in graduation rates since 2025 of over 6%. We're at some of our record level of graduation rates as a whole as a district, exceeding 93%. The focus area of this plan, focusing on students who come from lower income families, kids who qualify for educational benefits or free and reduced price lunch, we have seen almost a 20% increase in their graduation rate since 2025. When we look at other subsets of students, we have a 16% increase in graduation rates for kids on an IEP. We have close to a 16%, 17% increase for students of color in the district. This plan focuses on students closing achievement gaps and opportunities for students receiving economic benefits and who qualify for free and reduced price lunch. But we pay attention to achievement gaps and learning needs for students across the district, those in identifiable groups and those not in identifiable groups. And this is one measure through this plan, providing an additional $850,000 of services and resources to the district to focus not just on students who qualify for educational benefits, but I argue that provide services for all kids in our district. So with great enthusiasm, administration would recommend your approval of this plan.
All right, I'd
Move
entertain
to
a motion.
approve 9-6.
Second. All right, that was easy. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Member Castle.
So do these percentages only include the 12-year people, or does it go to the folks that are 20, just before their 22nd birthday?
This would be four-year graduation. When you think, is it graduation rate
Yes.
you're asking about? The rates I just included are pertaining to students who graduate within
With the 4 years.
by the age of 18 or their 12th year.
Do we have a metric for adding the other students that have completed in the
I don't
subsequent
have
years?
those in front of me, but Member Castle, my memory tells me we are approaching 98.5, 99%.
That's what
When you
I-
add the 5-year
yes.
and 6-year graduation rate, correct.
That's what I had supposed.
Yes.
Excellent. Member Tyson?
Well, this is an excellent plan, and I think there's so much good that comes out of the funding that we receive, and I like that we partner with other districts. I also think that, I checked into how the busing, what the ridership is, and that sounds like that's going well. And 12 to 15 students, and it's roughly 35,000. I think that's a good thing to keep going, and I'm glad it's still in the plan. But yeah, just so much good comes out of this funding that I'm so glad that we continue this. We've done it for, I think this is our 10th year?
Since 2018.
Yeah.
And I would point out that, we'll continue to monitor the investment in activity buses. It is $35,000 for the 2 additional days. Ridership is, as you pointed out, between 12 and 15 students on those 3 different days, 2 of which are funded through this plan.
Mhm.
We'd like to see that rate be even, or the number of riders be even more.
Right.
And we'll continue to push for that by providing academic enrichment and
Mhm.
academic support after school at the middle school and high school. But if at some point we conclude that we're not getting the bang for the buck with that investment, we could pull it back if we decided to. We could shift those funds in the plan through a modification to the plan at
Mhm.
any time.
Very good.
Yep.
And just for clarification, that could be a simple budgetary
That's right.
modification. It wouldn't
That's-
require a full plan amendment. And
That's correct.
it's
Yeah,
just a budgetary
yeah,
thing.
that would be a submission to the state for their approval.
Member Atkinson.
So when, you may have talked about this before, and I just don't remember, but goal number 3 mentioned that, high school achievement specialist working with students to develop good study habits and routines. Is this one person, or is that the deans? I don't, what's
No,
the,
that would be the academic specialist that we have at the high school.
is there just one?
There's one person, and but they are working with our deans, they're working with educators. Yep.
How do they decide which students they're working with? Like, do people have to ask for them to work with them, or are they, how do they decide who they're working with, or who decides who they're
Yeah.
working with?
First and foremost, through this plan,
Uh-huh.
they're focusing on students who qualify for educational benefits.
Yes.
But they're also working in combination with teachers and deans as well.
Mhm.
Part of that is to get students engaged in rigorous coursework and being successful in rigorous coursework.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's, if I understand the question and where you're going with the question, I think there's an ongoing need to identify kids who are struggling or kids who might fall through the cracks.
Yeah.
This is one way in which we can do that. We need to take advantage of every opportunity we can through teacher awareness, teachers looking at student data, counselors and deans having conversations with kids and tracking data, following up on kids who struggle.
Mhm.
All those pieces work in tandem.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Member Corcoran.
Oh, I just want to thank everyone for all the time and effort it takes to make up a plan like this.
Yeah.
It's very comprehensive and time-consuming, I'm sure. But I'm excited to hear the results once the year is done, kind of, get a little more clarity. But I'm just thankful we have these funds available to us, because without them, I don't know, we would have to pay out of the general fund, $850 or whatever it is, $800 plus $1,000 that we would have to come up with that would impact our fund balance, or somewhere we'd have to take it away from somewhere else. So
Certain roles or activities, yeah.
certain things would not be happening. And,
Yeah.
we work so hard to offer all the things that we have for our students and give them every opportunity to be successful. And this is a huge part of it. So I'm just thankful that we have it, and thank everyone for their hard work to keep this program going.
Yeah,
So-
chief among them is Dr. Brad
Yeah,
Ward.
I know,
who
I'm looking at
oversees
him.
this plan and
Thank you so much, Brad,
wrote
for all your work.
probably
Yeah.
99% of what you see in front of you, so
Yeah.
he deserves
It's-
a ton of the credit.
But thank you. Yeah, it's a great program, and our students are very lucky to have this opportunity, and that we, as a district, can offer it to our students. So, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ward. Any other discussion here? All right, I guess I'll jump in, and it's been no secret, I've been skeptical of this plan, and that was one of the reasons we took the opportunity with the adjustment to the elementary school model and the moving the sixth graders to the middle school. It felt appropriate to make some adjustments to the plan last year with that in mind, but I've been super encouraged with the changes and just the performance that we've seen over the last year. And I'm already seeing academic benefit when I look at the metrics and stuff. And I know that, having studied statistics a lot, that causation does not necessarily mean correlation, but I'm excited with the short-term benefit that I've seen for our students. And therefore, I definitely feel that this plan deserves an opportunity to run a full course and see how it performs, and what other benefits we can bring to students over the next 3 years here with that. So I will be supporting this plan again this evening.
Good.
And I'd encourage the rest of the board to do so as well. And if there's no other discussion, Member Clerk, please take the roll call.
All right. On the A&I plan, Member Rebbeline.
Aye.
Member Christensen.
Aye.
Member Corcoran.
Aye.
Member Castle.
Aye.
Member Tyson.
Aye.
And Member Antonsen votes aye. The ayes have it.
All right, that brings us right to 9.7 on bus leasing. Dr. Massey.
This is a fairly annual activity for the board, an important one nonetheless. The Minnesota Department of Education allows school bus leasing, and limited funding has 4 school districts to examine alternative ways to replace older school buses. Forest Lake Area Schools has been leasing regular and special education buses for several years. The school district's finance committee has reviewed the school bus leasing program to replace some of the district's aging buses. So the Transportation Department is requesting permission to lease 9 2027 77-passenger school buses on a 5-year lease to replace units on the current expiring 2-year lease, and to lease 7 2025 buses, 77-passenger school buses, for an additional 2 years. So in total, we would be looking to extend leases for 16 buses, 2027 buses, and 2025 buses. And with that, administration would recommend your approval.
Move to approve?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I have a quick question. Do we know what the total cost of the leases are here?
You know, I don't have that number in front of me. I can certainly get that for the board.
Okay.
It is certainly to our financial benefit to enter a leasing program than it is to do an outright purchase.
And the cost of the lease is in line with what we've been paying over the past few
Oh,
years?
absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Member Castle?
So, and this is 9 for 9 and 7 for 7.
Correct.
All right, anything else? Member Tyson?
I guess I'm just going to add this quickly, that this has been an excellent program for our district. I believe it was started by the previous business director, Larry Martini. You know, we're responsible, we're kind of an anomaly in terms of we bus the 2 charter schools and the private Catholic school. So we have a lot of students to bus, we have a lot of geographic area to bus. And I remember years and years and years ago, you could hear our buses coming, because they literally sounded like they were falling apart.
All rust buckets.
So we don't have that worry, and I just think this has worked out excellent for our district, so that's it for me.
Bob Dwyer is our supervisor of transportation. He's done a marvelous job. We have a very reliable fleet. The leasing program enables us to have a current fleet that is well-maintained and provides a safe ride to and from school for kids.
Yeah.
Member Castle?
Do we have a ballpark of the mileage when they get to the point where they need to be replaced?
That's all part of the lease program. We have eliminated a number of routes in order to bring our cost under control a little bit. So our buses drive more miles every single day. We fill buses more to capacity given the longer bus rides. So the downside of driving, of trying to fill the buses being more cost efficient is it's a longer bus ride for kids. Prior to some of those efficiency measures, we were driving the equivalent of Key West to Anchorage every day in this district. So we're not quite driving that, but it's still a lot of miles every day.
Okay, my question was more along the lines of, so my car, I think the timing belt jumped, but it has 205,000 miles on it. So what are the miles on these items when we want to replace them?
Yeah, again, that's part of the lease program. Member Cass, I don't have that number in front of me. If Director Rambergheidi was here, or certainly our supervisor, Bob Dwyer, but I can get that number for you.
Okay. So hopefully we can get more miles, if we have better equipment.
I could jump in here a little bit. I do know that I believe these engines have the ISB Cummins in them, and they're usually good to $500,000 to $750,000 before a rebuild, so. I don't know what we put on daily, but
That's
I-
wild.
that's a sizable number. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, if I don't see any other discussion here, so I'll ask Member Clerk, please take a roll call.
All right, on the bus lease, and Member Castle,
Aye.
Member Rebbeline.
Aye.
Member Tyson.
Aye.
Member Christensen.
Aye.
Member Antonsen votes aye, and Member Corcoran.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
All right, 9.8, award bid for technology needs. Dr. Massey.
One of the benefits of being a superintendent is you learn a lot of things. You learn a lot about a lot of things.
You do.
And the technicality around networks and switches is a learning curve in the midst of other things. To comply with the bid laws and to obtain the best possible pricing, the district requests permission to bid technology needs within the Category 2 E-rates funds. Category 2 E-rate funds are available on a 3-year cycle and cover 60% of the projected cost. The 40% district coverage will be part of our current technology budgets. A bid announcement was published in the Pioneer Press on January 29th and February 5th. The bid opening took place on February 23rd, and the district received 2 bids for the project. Attached is the scoring matrix for awarding the bid, and the lowest bidder that met the bid requirements was Tech Check in the amount of $481,631.70. Administration would recommend your approval of this update, and I would highlight that with this update, we will now have kind of a uniform network system across the district. Last year, we updated parts of our district. With this approval tonight, we'll be upgrading the middle school, the education center, STEP building, Lino Lakes Elementary, and the bus garage, creating a uniform backbone to our network and switches that run all of the technology throughout the district. And with that, administration would recommend your approval, and I'll be shocked if member chair doesn't have more to add.
I'm going to move to approve, and I'm also going to add that I'm proud of Dr. Massey for using the correct terminology there.
There you go.
All right, we have a motion, a second. Any discussion on this? Member Castle.
So what is a switch cloud?
That would be internet-based, and the network fabric that's embedded in this system allows the various switches to connect across multiple switches, so we're not independently dependent. A switch is not independently dependent or independent to itself on the network. So there's redundancy throughout the system through the fabric.
So if a switch fails in the building, it'll go out and then come back in.
Yeah, we should have the ability to pick that up. Yep.
To a point. I'll add a little clarification to
Yeah, I'm
that.
an IT geek, so that's...
So the end devices that are connected to that actual switch would obviously fail for the access layer switches. But for the network layer switches, the backbone that Dr. Massey mentioned earlier, they're configured in a redundant fashion. So if one of those main backbone fabric switches went down, it would have redundant path routing, and everything would route around that. So none of the users would notice that an outage occurred, but the IT team would notice it really quickly and then go and recover that failed device in the stack. And the other thing is, Dr. Massey alluded to, it provides, for the first time, Forest Lake Area Schools will have a central management opportunity where they can manage the entire networking fabric from a single location, where before they were actually having to access, well, right now, today, they have to access a lot of these switches for maintenance work or for troubleshooting or upgrades by physically walking to the device and plugging a cable into it locally. So it's a major upgrade. I remember joking with Director Jacobson that I had a more sophisticated network in my backyard than what we're currently running our schools on. And
Yeah, we're updating 20-year-old equipment here.
yeah, it just shows the incredible job that Director Jacobson's team has done to just keep us running.
20 years old.
So as opposed to the standard use of the
Need a
word
technology
cloud,
levy.
this is all internal.
Yeah, this is
in the
hardware,
building.
this is all a hardware purchase.
The cloud is more of a management terminology.
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
It's not the.
That's what threw me. It's like
Cloud
the
we're
cloud, yeah, because
used
there's
to.
folks are hosting stuff on the cloud and you lose your connection,
Correct.
can't do anything.
No, not in this case.
Some of the, yeah, it's amazing some of the disparities in the pricing on this thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
All right, any additional discussion on this?
When it says 5-year software license, that's a supported one. It's not like some obviously thing you're gonna get and when they quit making some component where they're gonna, this is a kind of like a warranty that this software will be legit for. Yeah,
Do you want to cover that, Dr. Massey? Do you want me to take it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so all of these network devices, they run a firmware similar to your phone. And what that is saying is that we'll have a license to get updates on that for the next 5 years with that contracted price. Once that 5 years expires, either we can get a new contract to continue supporting it, or we have the option of just leaving them at their current state. That's what we've chosen to do with the equipment that we currently have that's approximately 20 years old. It's no longer supported. It's referred to as end of life or end of
Right.
support. So those devices run essentially the latest operating system that was on them at the time we acquired them.
Yeah,
So they don't stop functioning after that 5 years.
but you don't get any updates and.
Correct. If there was some sort of a security exploit on the device or something, you wouldn't get a patch for that.
Right.
Or if there were added functionalities or features, you wouldn't be able to realize that. So
Okay.
that's what that piece is.
All right, thank you.
Any
Yeah.
additional discussion? All right, seeing none, we'll do our last roll call here for the night, hopefully. Member Clark?
All righty. Member Corcoran?
Aye.
And Member Antonsen votes aye. Member Castle?
Aye.
Member Christensen?
Aye.
Member Tyson?
Aye.
Member Rebbeline?
Aye.
And the ayes have it.
Okay, that brings us to 9.9, permission to request proposals for dental insurance. Dr.
Yes, the
Massey?
district is required by law to go out for proposals on group insurance every 5 years. The last set of proposals was in 2021, so the district is required to request proposals this year. National Insurance Services will coordinate the dental request for proposals. The RFPs will be advertised in the Pioneer Press, and the RFPs would be due to the district on March 30th. Administration would recommend your approval for the district to go out for dental bids.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved. To approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Brings us to 10.1, first reading, use of student records policy 505. Dr. Massey?
You can thank the policy committee and administration for giving you some light reading here. These are extensive policy updates. I would point out that as you read through this policy, what you see in black print is our existing policy that's also in alignment with MSBA. The red lines or the red type would be recommended updates to this policy from MSBA, model policy. The green only is what we have in policy that is not currently with MSBA. And that grid and that code is included in your information. So first reading, no action tonight, and we will bring it back in a month.
Okay.
All right, 10.2, first reading of student transportation safety policy number 531. Dr. Massey?
Yeah, we review this policy annually, as it's important to make sure we're staying current with transportation safety. We're including language here to include Type 3 vehicles and equipping Type 3 vehicles with child passenger restraints. So a nice update and an important one there. Language on page 15 related to escorting students across the road and providing safe movement of kids as they're getting on and off buses. And then you'll see a large set of strikeouts towards the end of the policy with respect to pre-trip inspections. All of those are prescribed in federal statute, in federal law. that our transportation supervisor and his team monitor on a regular basis. The policy committee believes it's wise or prudent to remove those from policy because the changes come fairly consistently.
Frequently?
And it's easy frequently.
Okay.
It's easier for the transportation department to keep up with those rather than the
Okay.
policy committee. So with those changes, we'll bring those back in a month and be seeking your approval.
All right, that brings us to item 11, review upcoming calendar dates. The big one that I have on there is March 19th is our next school board meeting. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
Oh, second.
Okay, we have motion second. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, we are adjourned.